106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Why does he put me in the corner small? I clicked full screen. Wednesday, October 2nd. It's Double Impact. I'm your host, Gabe. Guys, it is October. It is that time. I love this. I've loved Halloween since I was a little boy. We're going to do horror movies the whole month. I think we have 5 Wednesdays in October this year. That's awesome. We have a 5th week. And I remember one of my earliest memories of drawing. As you guys know, I'm a comic book artist and writer and all that. I drew a skeleton in a graveyard holding a gun, and the grave, the headstone said R.I.P. on it. And I probably was 5 or 6. And I remember I got my feelings hurt because my dad said, why don't you draw something nice? Now, don't get mad at my dad. My mom and dad always encouraged me to be an artist like my whole life. But I do remember that one moment in this front kind of, not a foyer, but it was a little room off the garage there. And I drew a skeleton holding a gun. Apparently, he had got someone. And my dad, maybe my dad was alarmed because I was 4 or 5 years old and I was drawing stuff like that. But I mean, come on, who doesn't love Halloween? And I did like a Garfield comedy strip when I was like 8 years old. And I don't remember any of the jokes or what I did, but it was called Frank. And it was about Frankenstein and funny things that happened to him. Okay, welcome in Mark's Music Obsession. Constantinus. Chrome is here. Emily Kruger is here. Ooh, that's a good Halloween name, like Freddy Krueger. And of course, Heather in Hot Ass Lake Havasu. Jericho Green, my co-host. I don't want to get racial, but he is running late. I didn't say it. I'm just saying he's a little bit late. But yeah, no, he texted me that he'll be here in a minute. But you know, since he's running late, we can talk a little bit of Halloween. I can tell you what I've been up to lately. Speaking of my friend, here he is, the man, the myth, the legend. And he's not late because he's black, folks. He's late because he was busy. How you doing, Jericho Green?
I sure was. Great. How are you? How are you, folks?
I'm doing really good. We got a question from the chat. I've been trying to avoid this topic, but what's up, Team Cream? Now, as you know, on this channel, Jericho has made the disastrous decision to publicly support creamy peanut butter versus crunchy. I'm still his friend, though. I'm not turning my back on Jericho. A lot of people would. A lot of people call him a creamy freak, slick, creamy guy. Not me. I stand by Jericho. I know the real Jericho. He's more than a guy that loves the gross, creamy peanut butter.
Thank you so much, man. Appreciate your support.
Yeah. So yeah, man. No, I've been busy as hell, having a lot of fun this last week. I went to the rodeo on Friday night. Yeah, my son and daughter have never been to the rodeo. I've been with my wife a few times, and Big Baby loved it. She loved it. You know, like they would do all the tricks with the horses and all that, and then she'd turn to me and go, "More, more, more!" Like she wanted to see more of it. And then on Saturday, I spoke at the a gun rights conference. I gave a 45-minute speech about how pop culture will affect your voting rights. That if people watch left-wing brainwashing Disney Plus long enough, they will go and vote against you being able to have a gun. Yes, it does directly work that way. I won't get into it, but that was a long speech I gave. I had a lot of fun. I do public speaking at stuff for the San Diego gun owners and other gun organizations. And then Sunday, I went to the Miramar Air Show and watched the Blue Angels and all that, do all kinds of tricks. That was really fun. And last night, I was in Hollywood and didn't get home till 3 a.m. because my daughter was doing more stand-up comedy up there. So sure. I feel like the last 5 days have been a whirlwind. A whirlwind. What have you been? A whirlwind. It been a whirlwind.
A whirlwind with a bottle of water.
A bottle of water.
A Tuesday.
A cheeky bottle of water.
They sound funny. Y'all sound funny.
And you've been busy too or not?
Yeah, always busy, man. You know, 2 young kids. There's always something going on. My son had football practice yesterday. He has it again today.
How's that going? He doing good on the team?
Yeah, man. He's their best player. He scored 2 weeks ago, scored 3 touchdowns. Last week he scored 2.
So he's not a future Raider then?
No, he's doing too well to be one of those. But it's funny, his football team name is the Raiders.
Oh no!
So my friend bought me a shirt that says Raiders like 10 times on it as a joke, and then my son saw it and he's like, "Dad, you gonna wear that to the game?" And I was like, "Oh yeah." So I find myself cheering for the Raiders every Saturday.
Let's go Raiders! You're saying that on the sideline?
Yeah. I've never said those words before in my life. Never. But I'm also assistant coach, so.
Oh, good. Good. Yeah, I love coaching sports. I coached my kids when they were real little in soccer. Then when my son got 5, he started flag football. Then he got into tackle at 8. Coached him all the way up to 8th grade. But I love coaching kids sports. It's so much fun.
Yeah, it's cool. And they're all a bunch of like 8, 9-year-olds. So they're crazy. It's still like herding a basket of cats, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's a great time. It's a great time. The Raiders. Well, guess what, Raider Nation?
Oh, yeah.
Denver Broncos going to stomp you into dust this weekend.
Okay.
Hey, they got like the top defense in the league. They just shut. First time Aaron Rodgers ever not thrown a touchdown on the road. Denver did that to them. So they have a beastly defense.
And you have some turmoil in the Raiders camp. Devontae Adams, excuse me.
Yeah.
He wants out of there. He requested.
This is the Midday Sports Zoo on 102.3 The Mead.
That's right. If it has a ball involved, if there's a ball, we're on it.
Yeah.
102.3.
Yeah.
The Meat.
Speaking of balls, I wanted to get your take on.
Whoa.
Yeah. No, this is hot ball talk on 102.3 The Mead.
Speaking of testicles.
Yeah, we're gonna get into a lot of hot ball talk right now.
Yeah. Hot ball talk. You don't have enough hot ball talk? Make sure you tune in to 102.3 The Meat.
Right. So I wanted to know, remove the video. I wanted to know if you was able, how do I fucking, I know what to do. I got to share screen. I want to know, did you watch the debate last night? I'll take that as a yes.
No, I didn't have a chance to watch it because while it was on, I was at said football practice.
Oh, okay.
But I did watch some of it when I got home because, of course, it was everywhere. I saw a lot of clips, and what I can surmise is that right there, Mr. or Governor.
I like to call him Walsey.
Tim Walsey. That face. It has it's, or as the kids would say, it's giving Don Knotts.
I agree. If you're going G-rated, this is giving Don Knotts.
No, I should say Barney Fife because he played other roles too. But
this is the guy.
Fife.
This is the scoutmaster whose hand flies up when they need someone to take the 8-year-olds to
Yeah.
Big Bear Mountain alone to go camping. This is the guy that's always volunteering to go.
No, I'll take the kids
Right.
to the bathroom.
Right.
I'll take you guys into the woods. No,
Yeah.
just you and I.
No, everyone can see it. The moment you see this guy, your skin crawls.
Yep. Ooh.
This is the uncle that your mom and your aunts tell you to stay away from.
Oh, come sit on my lap. Yeah,
No, this guy's
right.
horrific, dude.
Yeah.
Horrific.
But from what I saw, not having watched all of the debate, he got, like, I was thinking about it, and JD Vance didn't whoop his ass. He just allowed Tim Walz to whoop his own ass.
Right.
Because he was very nice to him.
Was it Sun Tzu or Napoleon? One of the great military guys said, never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake.
Yeah. Give him enough rope to hang himself.
Right.
It seemed JD Vance was very kind to him, very cordial, and he just sidestepped and allowed Tim Walz to run by right into a brick wall. He did it to himself. It was unevenly matched, but JD Vance played it perfectly.
Yeah. Brother Constantinus. I have to call you, if you're gonna have a Latin Roman name like Constantinus, I will have to call you brother. Brother Constantinus says, fun fact, in China, the commies have a name for commies like Walz and others who prostrate and humiliate themselves. They're called white monkeys in Mandarin. Basically means a fool, idiot. Holy cow. Jeez.
Definitely. And not big monkeys, not like primates, but like
I was roasting everyone was roasting this dude. Twitter was like going crazy last night. There's so many pictures of him with these like crazy looks on his face. And I just kept tweeting stuff like, this dude looks like his wife is going through his phone. Bro looking like he just sharded.
Dude, he looks fearful. It was like he saw a spirit.
Right.
Yeah, he just looked, that's not the face a face that you want in your number two.
Yeah.
Somebody who could potentially, who does have a lot of power. The vice president doesn't get a lot of shine while they're in office, unless there's a lot of shit going on. But you do have things to do, and you are number two. And what seems weird, though, now it seems like Kamala's the president already. She's talking about Israel's, what happened with Iran, and Israel, the missile attack and all this kind of stuff, and what the U.S. is going to do. Like, shouldn't that be coming out of the president's mouth?
Right.
Like America's response to an international situation. So who is the president? I don't know. Is it her? Is it him? Maybe it's both. Maybe there's a little Siamese twin politicking going on there. But last night, it was, like I said, it wasn't bad. It wasn't as bloody as it could have been because JD Vance just let him, basically was that seppuku. That Japanese ritual suicide. He just let him get on his knees and take his nice knife out and just go, hey! and kill himself on TV. So that was bad. That was really, really, really bad.
Yeah, it was horrific. Now, I talked to you about this yesterday, this next subject, and then we'll get to Dracula soon. We'll get to Dracula soon, dude.
Dude, did you just bite me, dude?
No, cool. No way.
No,
we'll get to that,
dude.
but there's another thing, a very serious issue we have to address. Something happened. We love Jericho, and we don't want anything to ever happen to him, but he had a run-in yesterday, and I just want you to talk about this incident.
Oh, and another one today.
Yeah,
in the same spot.
Share with everyone. I'll be quiet and I'll let you just, you handle it. If you got to cry, it's a safe space, dude.
Yeah, I need the proper amount of space to relive this trauma. So yesterday, I'm going into town, minding my own business, being Black in America. So I'm fighting, the white man at every turn. He's in my head. He's affecting every part of my life. So I'm already frazzled, if you will. So I'm going into town, and I look at my rear view, and there is a police SUV. And where I live, there are no police cruisers. They're all SUVs. They're all either Chevy Tahoes or Ford Explorers. So it was a police SUV behind me. I automatically became extremely nervous. The nervous sweats, the beads of sweat on your forehead, sweaty armpits, nervous farts, like when you were going to get in a fight or something, get your ass whooped by your parents. A lot of things going on. Gabe, I'd appreciate it if you wouldn't laugh at this because this is...
No, I was laughing at something else.
This is very serious.
No,
And you,
I was laughing at how funny this isn't. That's
you,
funny.
it was so unfunny that
Yeah,
it got funny.
Right,
Well,
right.
you as a person of color, you need to pay attention to this too, because
I was laughing at just how serious I take this.
Yeah, because it's weird because you get so serious that it turns into laughter. I get it. But as a person of color, this will happen to you. If you're listening to me and you're darker than a shade of printer paper, this is going to happen to you. America is rooted in racism. So I see the police SUV behind me. I'm nervous because I'm about to die, right? Anybody out there ever been close, like knowing you're about to die or thinking you're about to die? That was me. Broad daylight, they don't care. They'll shoot a black person, especially a black man, because we're super predators. No, wait, who said that? Forget it. That's not the point. But we're super predators, and the police, there's a target. You can't see it because you're not black. White people, I'm talking to you. Right. White people, you may come in and share this space, white people. But you can't see the target. But other black people, other people of color, and law enforcement can see the target that's on our back. So they're always gunning for us. No pun intended.
This target that you cannot see, if you're a straight white man, you can't see it. Now, what if you were a straight white man and you became gay? Could you then see the target? Would that be possible?
But how gay? Like I look at you and I can't tell, or I can look at you and tell. It depends on how
you don't
gay
know
you
for
are.
Sure, but like Tim Walls, like you do a lot of jazz hands and kicks and stuff.
Like, do you get out of bed and go fabulous?
Yes, and then you're like, oh, I need to get a mimosa right now. Like,
because those, like, if you're that type of gay person, you know what it's like to be persecuted, because it's just as bad. It's worse for gay people than black people. Actually, calling somebody queer is worse than calling them the N-word. It's funny how that happened, but that's where we are. And I actually had somebody tell me that in real life one time. But anyway, back to my traumatic experience. Where was I? So the white police officer was behind me in his vehicle. I'm sure his gun was drawn. I'm sure he was salivating. I'm sure he had an erection, because he was about to realize his fantasy. This is why he became a police officer, to shoot a black person. So I knew that was it. I knew I was dead, but I had the presence of mind as an influencer to take my phone out, hit record, to record this racism, this police brutality, this murder that I was about to experience. So I was very brave, so brave, and I recorded it. And you're probably wondering how it ended. Obviously, he didn't shoot me because I'm still here. Right. What happened was he just put on his turn signal and turned the other way.
Oh, so he went and did other work that he was supposed to do?
Yeah. So, but
what are you doing on your journey to process this trauma? Like what kind of things entail your journey?
Well, I think my journey is still in its infancy stage as far as like processing this trauma, and it like triggered my autism, and like it triggered my anxiety. So I'm obviously going to need some medication. I'm going to need a service animal, and you're probably thinking a dog, but no, I'm a
pelican, right? You told me you liked pelicans.
Yes, I have a service pelican, and taxpayers are going to pay for the mackerel that I throw in its mouth every 10 minutes.
That's service mackerel, right?
Yeah, because it's covered by the federal government.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I hear you've retained counsel, right?
Yeah, Ben Crump. I mean, nothing happened. Like
Ben Crump, he works for Bernard Sanders, right? He works for.
He used to. Oh, there was a disagreement. Some butts didn't get sniffed, and then because it used to be Crump and Sanders on the side of their building, but now you notice it's just Sanders. So, but I'm not even supposed to. I think that I signed an NDA,
right.
And I wasn't even supposed to mention that. But Ben Crump, yeah, I've retained him. I tried to get St. Bernard Sanders,
right?
But he was busy. He has a lot of things going on. He has like some Israeli clients, some Hamas clients. It's very complicated at his office right now.
Okay.
But yeah, that's what happened to me yesterday. And then today, I'm about 100 yards from the same spot. I look in the rear view. Who is it this time? CHP behind me, white officer, broad daylight. I'm being black in America. So the only logical conclusion I can come to is that they didn't get me yesterday. So they sent a more racist officer
oh my gosh.
to get me this time.
They sent like an ultra MAGA kind of guy.
Yeah, that's what I could hear him in his car. Ultra MAGA. It was like this death metal he was listening to. I think it was this song. I saw it on Spotify or something. It's called Kill the Negro or something. He was
he
yelling
eating one of those racist Chick-fil-A sandwiches too?
Yeah, because it's not Sunday. They're closed on Sunday. So of course he's there. The other 6 days a week, he had a hood on, a white Klansman hood. It was very traumatic, very, very, very traumatic. And they sent him to get me this time. But here's what happened. Here's how I kept the cops from pulling me over and killing me. Because if you get pulled over and you're black, you're dead. So I kept them from pulling me over because I was driving properly. So
powerful. I'm glad you had the tenacity and the bravery and the confidence and the fierceness to share this with us.
Me too. And thank you for allowing, because I have to say it in this tone because it's the only way it'll get through. Thank you for allowing me to like use this as a safe space. To like,
anytime
trauma.
you want to expose the colonization of your feelings, it's always welcome.
That's what he was. I'm a colonizer.
Right.
That's what he was yelling because he put his window down.
Right.
And then he was Sig Heiling the whole way when he was driving past.
Yeah. No, it's it's something.
Well, I wasn't even gonna be here. I was gonna text you. Like I had my phone out. I was gonna text you. Can't make it in bed. With the shades drawn. But I was like, I have to tell my story.
Right.
To shed light so other people will feel.
You have to
enough.
share your truth to empower others.
Exactly. Empower. That's the word I was looking for. I have to use that one. To empower other people to come out and tell their stories of how nothing happened with
the softness of culture, just the pussification of our culture. I was on I kid you not, they changed it for a good 6 months there. Every web thing has a search, right? There'll be a little magnifying glass and like search, and it says like search if you're on Netflix or Amazon Prime or whatever. We've reached such levels of pussification. The search on Amazon Prime, I shit you not, it only changed back a week ago. For 6 months, it said find. You don't search for anything. That's stressful. It literally
that could be a triggering word.
It said find next to it.
Yeah, that's a triggering word. You don't know what people have. What if he's searching for somebody in his life, or he was searching for somebody?
But he was searching for love or searching for equality, and then you're going to use a word like search.
Yeah, are you searching for equity, and then like you use a word like that re-triggers. Actually, point of privilege.
Yes,
that's gonna, because you can be, there's like triggering, but then there's like re-trigger, and you can like re-trigger somebody if you use a word like search. Like, what if they lost their Yorkie?
Point of privilege, point of personal privilege. I don't like the word triggering. It reminds me of assault firearms.
Ooh, good point. Well, you might say something that might cause somebody to like think of something that like happened in their past. Like, what if they lost their Yorkie? Because like guys that talk like this definitely have
personal
Yorkies.
Privilege. I don't like the word past. It reminds me that the white man writes the history books with his racist venom.
Good point. Like, it might cause somebody to think of something that happened to them a long time ago.
Point of personal privilege. I don't like thinking that's a gendered word because they say women are emotional and men are logical, which I don't believe.
Okay, well, like those words might cause a thought to come into somebody's brain and like re-traumatize them. Like, what if he was searching for something? What if he was like searching for his dignity or something and couldn't find it?
I don't know how we're ever going to solve all of this.
And you know what? There's a real video. I think it took place in Sacramento, and it's the Democratic Socialists or something like that, like a breath away from being full-blown communists, right? And they were really saying that. Point of privilege? Oh, yeah. Brother over there.
I remember. That's the one where they were saying, like, don't clap because some people are sensitive to, like, fast movements and loud noises.
Dude, it was that stuff is real. We didn't have to make that up because that happened. And everybody kept saying point of privilege. Oh my God. You can't get anything done. If everything somebody says causes a pause in the conversation, you're never going to get anything done. Yeah, this shit right here.
Hold on. So what
Socialist convention.
I have to stop screen and then I have to re-share it because I have to activate the sound tab. It's a weird thing. Okay. We'll watch a little of this.
That's all we
These are a
need.
bunch of communists talk about stupid social justice shit. But every single one of them is so worried about virtue signaling at every millisecond of their life. They can't even speak fluidly normally.
You can't have a conversation.
Just watch this. Watch this and be amazed.
Capitalism, we are going to need a party that will organize working people to fight for the demands that we want and to win socialism. Thank you so much.
Right.
Quick point of privilege. Quick point of personal privilege.
Yes.
Guys, first of all, James Jackson, Sacramento, he, him. I just want to say, can we please keep the chatter to a minimum? I'm one of the people who's very, very prone to sensory overload. There's a lot of whispering and chatter going on. It's making it very difficult for me to focus.
You've got to be fucking kidding me with these people.
Like, I'm not saying somebody should do this.
He's very prone to what, like sensory
overload.
Because people are whispering. Would you shut up, you complete moron?
I'm not saying somebody should do this, but
girl, I gotta tell you what happened to me yesterday, Jericho. I went out to the grocery store.
Actually, point of privilege. My pronouns are he, him.
And do you know what these people had the nerve to do in front of me, Jericho? They were all talking to each other, and I had to hear it. When I was in a crowd in public, other people were doing things I didn't approve of.
How did you not collapse and have a
Why
seizure?
Do you think I'm here with you now, sharing my story.
Like this guy.
How do these people get to the driveway from their living room?
But no shots to the face. I think this guy could be taken out with just body shots. I feel like this dude would just in the body. Don't hit it.
Let me guess if this guy had a really masculine, loving father that built a model airplane with him, threw the football, kissed his mom in front of them, provided groceries and clean clothes, and was there at every Christmas and birthday. Let me guess if this guy is missing that in his life.
Oh, this is a product of mom and grandma, guaranteed. Probably a bunch of aunts too.
If this guy saw his dad 6 days a year, it was for 4 hours, and it's like we're baking a fucking frozen pizza, son. Watch TV. I'm gonna drink some beer and look at old pictures of your mom that divorced me.
Yeah,
like this is like what in the hell? Let's hear a little more. Let's hear a little more.
Please, can we just, I know we're all fresh and ready to go, but can we please just keep the chatter to a minimum? It's affecting my ability to focus. Thank you.
Thank you, comrade. Okay, is there a speaker against name, chapter, pronouns?
Point of personal privilege.
Oh, imagine what this guy looks like.
Please do not use gendered language to address everyone.
Please not use gendered language to address everyone. He's like on the verge of tears.
What do you think that guy looks like?
English.
Woo. Like the first guy, I picture him like with one of those green like surplus army jackets. You know, maybe like a Che Guevara t-shirt, something like that. He seems more activist, more of an activist. But that last guy, he's definitely wearing a Japanese animation t-shirt, some ill-fitting jeans. Probably has no plans of moving out of his parents' house, at least 30 years old. That dude is a mess. He's probably really on the spectrum. That dude sounded touched.
Oh my God.
We're playing picture, baby. Are you fucking kidding me? And we're supposed
personal privilege. Don't say kidding me. That reminds me of children. And I know a lot of people do and don't want kids. And I don't like the controversy. And I don't want to think about it.
I'm actually more of a cat guy. So, but can you, ladies, we're supposed to send these guys
to
the front line.
Point of personal privilege. Don't say ladies. Some ladies are not ladies, Jericho.
But I was talking to like biological ladies and trans ladies. Same thing, but I just want to include everybody. But these guys are supposed to go out and defend us. What happens? We got to go handle some shit, and this is who we're sending to defend our border and our country. Okay.
Oof.
Okay. Ladies, I'll turn on you by hearing those guys. That's what I want.
And again, to bring it all back to, I gave that speech at the gun rights conference. I forget what it was called. I have the badge right here somewhere. But it was about gun rights, and the whole speech I gave was about pop culture and entertainment, and how we have to stop giving money to woke filth, because scientific research has known since the 50s at least, story is the most potent form of persuasion. Your subconscious mind watches the movie, reads the book, reads the comic book, hears the music. Your subconscious mind doesn't know it's not real. So if you have really good artists and writers who are teaching you evil, disgusting, depraved, socialist, communist messages, your subconscious brain is being bathed in that for decades. And then we wonder why people grow up like this. They don't have a mom and a dad telling them, no, we don't watch that filth in this house. So, because I have a lot of Christian and conservative anti-woke friends, and their kids are a mess, and they come to me and they don't know why. I said, because you let them watch the worldly shit growing up. That's why. It's more potent than you saying, don't do that. The movie that has excellent acting, music, and all that, but it's filth, that's convincing them that that filth is true. Like, guys, I don't think people understand how important entertainment is for politics and how society's going to go, but I'll get off the soapbox.
Love the background.
Oh, thank you. Oh, what are those? Oh, what are those? Those are amazing graphic novels coming in 2025 from Big Man Comics.
Yep.
That's right. We got The Unstoppable Tyrus, Empyrean Earth Illuminated, Dean Cain All-American Lawman, Volume 2, The Hong Kong Connection, of course, Jericho Green and the Hammerheads. So if you're looking for entertainment that will not warp your kids' minds, but will strengthen and inspire and, dare I say, empower, to take a word back from Oprah, your children's minds, and even the young and old alike, this stuff will entertain and inspire anyone. You go to bigmancomics.com right now, and you can still get the All-American Lawman Volume 1. And you want to do it. I want you to do it today. You will love it.
Yeah, you got to get Volume 1 because you got to know what the hell is going to be going on in Volume 2.
That's right.
Get him.
That's right. So have you seen Dracula? Have you seen it before?
Yeah, I saw it back in the day when it came out. And I've seen it a couple times since then, but this is the first time I've seen it in a long time. First of all, it's called Bram Stoker's Dracula, probably Bram, whatever. Bram Stoker's Dracula. I think it needs to be called Brody Stoker's Dracula.
Dude.
Because Keanu was having a tough time. He was wrestling from beginning to end. He was wrestling with an English accent. Sometimes the English accent would win, and sometimes Keanu would win. And it was a fucking roller coaster.
I don't think he's terrible in this. I just think it's a little distracting sometimes. But he is one of the great movie stars. You never hear about him at a Diddy party or anything like that. He's got so much charisma, good looks, and then the behind the scenes, the people that quote know him say he's so charitable and kind. You don't hear a bad word about this guy, so I'm willing to let it all slide. I know that's biased, but I just like the guy. He's got the charisma for whatever reason.
Yeah, and you have, think of a basket full of pristine, gorgeous, ripe, red strawberries, just picture perfect. Hand-picked by some, St. Pauli looking girl on the hillsides of wherever the fuck, in the morning sunlight with the dew still kissing the fruit of the earth, right? But you got one strawberry in that basket that's maybe, the top of it's still white. It's not quite ripe yet. I mean, you'll eat it, but it's surrounded by all these beautiful, gorgeous strawberries. That was this movie. The other gorgeous strawberries were Gary Oldman and Anthony Hopkins.
Yes.
So he was in great company. But like I said, it was a struggle.
I thought they were all pretty good. I think the Texan Quint, there wasn't much material for him. He was all right. No. But I even thought Dr. Jack, the protege of Van Helsing, I thought he was really strong.
So he had an arc.
Yeah, and Carrie Elwes was Arthur, the one that marries Lucy.
Yeah,
I thought he was good. He didn't have a lot of material either, only had a few scenes, but when he had him, he did a great job.
Yeah, he did great.
Yeah, I think it's a good movie, actually. It's very evil. The evil in this movie is as evil as it gets, but unlike modern cinema, evil is evil in this movie, and we hate it, and the good guys hate it, and they go out of their way to destroy it. They don't do the postmodern, well, maybe Dracula is not a bad guy, and he had a point all along. Like, no, maybe he should have ate all those people's necks. And shit.
Good, very clearly good versus evil. But this is a love story with vampire shit in it,
right?
Because the love story is everything. I do wish, and to be fair, Keanu Reeves and Winona Ryder were both having a bout with the English accent. I don't know why.
Whatever is it that you mean, Sir Jericho?
Why didn't they just get two British actors?
Oh, but I mustn't.
Like, I know it was 92. Maybe they were both super hot at the
I
time.
can't resist you any longer, Count.
She was coming off of Edward Scissorhands, so I don't know. But I don't see why. Or maybe just one of them be British. Like, maybe make her British so his British accent or attempt at a British accent wouldn't have been so terrible. I don't know. But having both of them be American, that was weird. But it's still a great movie. But like Gabe was just saying, everything, when Gary Oldman is, well, it doesn't matter whether he's the old man Dracula or the young man Dracula, everything is, I want you in my life, Dracula. Everything is very, theatrical and very over the top. And
this did some of the visual in this did remind me of like a stage play. You know what I mean? Some of it looked very much like a set, like a theater set, but like on purpose. Some of the shots, most of the movie's pretty realistic looking, but some of the montages where they'll superimpose a second image, and sometimes when Mina Harker is riding on the ship in the ocean, that looks really weird and like a stage play, and it seems intense for me because it's already 1992. They could have made it look totally real. Real quick, the poll of polls: favorite classic monster, Dracula, Wolfman, Diddy, or Frankenstein? And don't be the person that says, actually, the monster is called Frankenstein's monster, and Frankenstein's a scientist. Everybody knows.
Yeah,
Stop. We don't need that. Stop. We can just call the monster Frankenstein. Everybody knows. Jeez.
I would say, to me, it's a werewolf, not so much the Wolfman, because there's a difference between the Wolfman.
You don't like Wolfman Jack, baby, coming to you over the airways?
Not like that guy. An actual werewolf. That's my favorite. That's always been my favorite. Even when I was a kid. More than Dracula.
I should have said scariest monster. Then Diddy would have won in a blowout.
Oh, for sure. Especially if you're talking buttholes.
Yeah, buttholes. Talk about blowout.
If you're asking a butthole who's a bigger monster, definitely.
Right. No love for Mummy. And no love for my favorite. The Creature from the Black Lagoon is my favorite.
No. I mean, cool. I respect that it's your favorite, but those are definitely lower on the.
I'll say this:
scale.
I've never seen the Creature from the Black Lagoon movie. I'm saying visually, I think it's just so cool looking. The Creature from the Black Lagoon. I have multiple T-shirts, and I have a very expensive Halloween mask my daughter got me for my birthday of the creature. I had an action figure of the Creature from the Black Lagoon that I still have to this day in my toys that are in the attic. I've had it since I was like 5 years old. That my grandma got me at Woolworths or something like that. So I guess Dracula, who when my son was like 4 called him Dracula. I think he's gonna win this.
That's his sister, Dracula.
What about Alucard? Do you know about Alucard, where they spell Dracula backwards?
No.
I'm not even kidding about that. That's a whole other thing. Don't worry about Alucard.
Okay.
Let's see. I love the Creature from the Black Lagoon and seen the movie really good. When I was in college, I drew a picture of the Creature from the Black Lagoon and emailed it to the actor who I think at the time lived in Hawaii. He was an old man, and talked to him. Had a little email exchange back with him. He has since passed away. Obviously, that movie's from the 50s, I believe. But it was kind of cool to just find a guy's website and then find his email, just email him, tell him, hey, I was a big fan, blah, blah, blah. And I don't remember what we talked about. I'd have to dig through my emails. So. But yeah, always been a fan of the visual of the Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, it looks cool. But,
yeah, one more thing before we get into the movie. The book. Have you read the book Dracula?
Dracula. No, I have not.
I've only read it once. It's excellent. And this movie follows it pretty closely. The book is intense as hell. And I was thrown off because I didn't know anything about Dracula besides the pop culture, very thin references. And I didn't remember this movie at all from the 90s. I don't think I'd ever seen this movie till I just watched it. I think it's one of these movies where I've seen tons of clips and I thought I had seen the movie. You know what I mean? Because I was like I know every scene, but maybe that's because I read the book. When he travels from Transylvania to London on that ship, the Demeter, that chapter of the book is one of the most intense chapters of any book I've ever read. The way Bram Stoker, the writer, just keeps the drumbeat of the intensity getting harder and harder and harder and harder until the ship pulls into the harbor and all the weather has changed and everyone that on the ship has been murdered and died. And it's just like the evil is coming from Transylvania to England. That chapter of the book is one of my favorite chapters of any book I've ever read. It's insane. So It's not a spoiler because the book is well over 100 years old. Definitely check out the novel of Dracula, the original. It's insanely good. And also, while you're at it, go back and get Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, which is considered the first science fiction novel of all time. And the Frankenstein book is not at all what Universal did with the Universal movies back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. It doesn't reflect these books. It's the same monster, the same sort of concept, but the books are so much deeper and very different in ways. So definitely check that out. I don't know what happened to Jericho. I think he had to run to the little girl's room, but that's okay. Let me remove this. Oh, there he is. So I don't know if you heard any of that, but the bottom line is the book is excellent, and when you get a chance, give it a read.
Yeah, that scene on the ship was crazy. The music was very front and center.
They made a movie last year that I wanted to go see, and then the reviews were shit, but it was The Last Voyage of the Demeter. And the Demeter is the ship that brings Dracula to London, and that this movie was the story of that chapter of the book. Now, as I said, that's my favorite chapter of almost any book I've read. I'm so disappointed the reviews were terrible. I think I'm going to watch the movie eventually anyway. I'll just find it on Amazon for $3.99 for the rental. And I'll just ignore the parts that suck because, man, that's a great intensity. I wonder how they turned that into a 1.5 or 2 hour movie or whatever. So
it's got to be pretty intense. Like probably starts off in the beginning pretty fast and goes because I mean it's pretty fucked up scene.
So this starts off in the 1400s in Romania and Transylvania, the Carpathian Mountains. You have Count Dracula, and he's the defender of this Christian monastery there. And they take on the Turks in battle, and he wins a victorious battle, killing many, many foes, putting them on spikes, pikes, like the legend says. But they send a letter to the castle before he can get back home from battle, telling his beautiful bride, Elisabetta, that he was killed in battle. And their love is so pure and intense that she jumps off the castle into the river many, many hundreds of feet and kills herself. So when he comes home and finds his love dead, I'm sorry, man, he renounces God. He stabs the cross, makes a pact with the devil to give himself all the power of hell as just pure vengeance and hatred to God for letting his woman die. So this right here is a story the huge theme of this for Dracula as the main character, to me, is the idea of compromising. And there is a verse. This won't be a Bible lesson, but this is Christianity. I mean, that's the basis of this story here, right? And there is, I'll just say really quickly, one thing. I looked it up because I remembered it, but I had to look it up. There is one verse that does say, Mark 8:36, for what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world and lose his soul, right? So the concept here is I could have riches, I could have women, I could have power, I could have all this if I'm willing to commit some evil to get it. And we all know that as human beings, that's the deal the devil gives us every day, right? Go ahead, Jericho. Do that crooked business deal. Do this, do that. Your wife's never going to find out. Little this, little that. Cheat on this, cheat on that. And you'll get more, you'll get more. And like that verse says, what does it profit you to gain the world and lose your soul? That's the deal that the Count makes here in the beginning in his insane rage and heartbreak, is that he's like, no, this can't be. I'll bring her back from the dead. And he's going to use the forces of hell and the devil and evil. So he becomes like a servant, a disciple of Satan, and becomes this undead monster. And it's insane. It's grotesque. It's crazy. What did you think of that right off the bat?
Yeah, it starts with his wife begging him not to go to battle. And he's dressed up in that suit and has a helmet with like straight up pointy ears, like a jackal. It starts with their love. Please don't go, my love. Oh, please, I cannot take it. And they kiss passionately. And a cool scene is when they finally kiss for the last time. He goes out the door and they open these huge doors, and the crowd, the soldiers are right there, like, yeah, cheering. Let's go to battle. I remember Monster Squad. Kick him in the nards. He doesn't have any nards. Kick him in the nards. So it starts off with their love, and he goes. And it shows him, I don't know what you call it, but the same kind of technology like in Indiana Jones when it shows the map and the little red dots moving wherever they're flying to, like that kind of like superimposed thing. And he's killing them left and right, boom, boom. And you can see just their silhouettes. So they're killing the Turks left and right, and they're victorious. And they said that they couldn't, but they did. And so he takes off the helmet, it's in the shadow, and he comes toward the camera in the light. And he's like, he's exhausted. I've fought this battle in the name of God to fight these Muslim Turks who are, they don't believe in God, and it's a religious war. And he just put his life on the line and left his wife for God, and he comes back home and she's dead. So he definitely took that initial emotional human response of, why did you take this from me? Not seeing the lesson in it, or, seeing it from a macro view. It's just like, you took this from me. What's the quickest way to get vengeance?
Right.
And it becomes Dracula.
Right. So yeah, he makes the worst deal you can make. Like a used car salesman can give you a bad deal. I'll tell you right now, the devil will give you the worst deal possible.
No.
34% interest, 568 payments, only $700 a month.
I don't know that Brittany Griner for the
used Ford Focus with 200,000 miles on it, 2003.
I'll
Brand
take
new
it.
paint job.
Brittany Griner for the Merchant of Death. That was a pretty bad trade.
It's a pretty bad trade. Russell Wilson to the Denver Broncos for three number ones, 2 number 2s, the defensive tackle, the tight end, and the quarterback. And that set the Broncos back a few years, but they're back on track now. That is a terrible deal too.
Mike Ditka, everything for Ricky Williams. That was a bad one too.
Yeah. The Dallas Cowboys, everything for Herschel Walker, right? No, the Minnesota Vikings got Herschel Walker from the Cowboys. And then the Cowboys ended up using those picks to get guys like Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin. And I think, it made the Cowboys dynasty to get all those picks. Yeah. So we cut from the 1400s to 400 years later in 1800s England. Just to give you an idea, they have things like early movie projectors, phonographs, like a plastic record you could play, or you could record your voice. So we have a little bit of technology. That's the age we're in now. You have coal-powered trains and all that. And we meet Keanu Reeves, dude. He's a realtor. He's a real estate broker. And this movie, like when I was reading the book, I was like, real estate? That's what Dracula's about? So what has happened in the beginning here is his boss at the real estate agency is sending him to Transylvania to finish a deal with Count Dracula, this rich count who they don't know. It's a different time. There's no internet. Obviously, it's the 1800s. So there's a rich guy a couple hundred miles away. I don't know. He wants to buy a bunch of property here in London. And our first agent, Renfield, that we sent out there, he's at the Cuckoo House here in London screaming about Dracula, eating bugs, eating rats. Renfield has to eat blood all the time. Now think what happened to Renfield. He went to Dracula's castle to finish the real estate deal because Dracula wants to buy this one abbey. Carfax Abbey is a church there in London and some other properties around London. So Keanu is sent to Transylvania to finish the deal because Renfield came back a blood-drinking nut job and he's in the insane asylum.
Yeah, he's indisposed at the moment.
Yeah.
He's getting shock treatment. But he goes over there. Of course, he's in love with Mina. But Mina happens to look exactly like
Elizabeth.
Who he lost 400 years ago. So they're sending Keanu
now, is Mina supposed to be Elizabeth reincarnated, or this is just a coinky?
No.
They never say. The book doesn't
just
say,
a coinky dink.
And the movie doesn't say. So
I think it's a coinky dink, and because of his sorcery, she has this intense spoiler alert, this intense love for him. But yeah, he sees that and he's just like, holy shit, Dracula sees him. He's like, that's her. That's right. I've waited 400 years for this. And he's even gets emotional. But
you think you could ever be that hard up for one woman that you'd wait 400 years? You wouldn't just move on and marry someone else?
No, of course. I would never marry another woman in my life. If I could wait 400 years to get my wife again, I would.
Good answer. There was an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm where Larry David and Cheryl, his wife, were having a big fight, and she was really mad and didn't want to talk to him anymore because he told her after they died and went to heaven, they weren't a couple anymore, and he was thinking of maybe dating again. So they were going to renew their vows at the synagogue or whatever, and she was fighting with him tooth and nail that part of the vows had to be, I will love you forever into eternity, and he didn't want to say that part.
He wanted a way out.
So it was a running joke. Me and my wife, I always tell her that I'll love her into eternity. And but I've told you this before. Another one I always tell my wife is, I said, baby, I'll always love you no matter what I do.
No matter what I do.
Hit your wife with that one. See how she responds.
Oh, she'll love it.
Yeah.
She'll really love that. She pulled it yesterday. We were doing that. We're talking about something. She's like, oh, so if I died, you'd get remarried. But the tone in her voice was like, yeah, you can. Like, you should get remarried. And I was like, no, I wouldn't. Oh, it was if you get married a second time, should you have a big wedding? And I'm like, no, that's it. You get your one big wedding.
Right.
Why do it a second time? At our age, chances are it's not their first marriage either. So you're going to go all white dress in big church on the second time around. She was like, oh, so you would get remarried. That's the wrong answer.
I know a person who women can get a little emotional sometimes.
What?
I know a person, I will not say if they're friend, relative, something I read online or in Mad Magazine. Their woman told them that she had a list of women he was not allowed to marry if something happened and she died. And she told him who the women were, like 4 or 5 women. So that's intense, if you ask me.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's a lot of things.
Yeah. Shrapnel says, I've been with the same woman for almost 26 years. Hell no, I would not try to get with another one. That sounds terrible.
Sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. So Mina Murray and Jonathan Harker, they are the betrothed. They're about to get married, but he is summoned away to Transylvania to finish a real estate deal. Interest rates had just dropped, so Dracula wanted to make a move and lock in a good interest rate.
Lock it.
Yeah. But so he's got to go by train. It's going to take a week to get there. And I guess it would be the Orient Express, wouldn't it? Because that's the one that's going to go from southern England into Calais, France, and all the way over to Budapest, as he says. Instead of Budapest, he likes saying Budapest.
Ugh.
Dude, going to Budapest, then Varna, then the Carpathian Mountains, bro.
Dude, how do I get to some waves from here, dude?
Dude, I thought we could surf there in the Black Sea, but it was just cold and rocky, dude.
Dude, is there water in Transylvania? So I use my board, dude. Oh, I mean, it was almost on that level. It was crazy. And like I said, it faded in and out. It wasn't constant. I'd have a little more respect for it if it was constant. But it was sometimes, like, where art thou? And then it was, oh, sir, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, pick something and roll with it.
A fun thing they do in this movie is they have voiceover from different characters. A lot of it is from Abraham Van Helsing, excellently played by Anthony Hopkins.
Yep.
And Van Helsing is like a priest and a scientist and a vampire monster hunter. So he's sort of like this religious scientist warrior against evil. And he shows up way later in the movie. But his voiceover is what starts the movie. His voiceover is the thing talking about Dracula's battle against the Muslim Turks. And then when he's traveling by train, Jonathan Harker, or Keanu, right. Let's see. He's reading a letter from Dracula that says, "Dear friend, welcome to the, I think, like country, blah, 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 blah." But I love the way Dracula signs his letter. D. He just signs it D on there.
D.
So
I don't know what that stands for.
That could be Dracula. That could be Diddy.
Be
now,
Dick.
Jericho, in a different life, you're a real estate broker, and you have to go close a deal because your friend came back from there all crazy. But you're not going to Castle Dracula. You're going to Castle Diddy. How do you handle it?
You don't go, man.
You don't go?
You can't go.
But this is a big sport. You're going to get 6% of $25 million when you close the deal.
You're either going to get 6% or 100% dick.
Ooh.
What do you want? What do you want?
Oh,
which odds are you taking?
Oh,
I'm going with the stay home. Or, hey, if you're that money hungry or you want to climb the corporate ladder that fast that you're going to put your sphincter on the line, go for it, man. Me personally, no, I'll find another agency.
Find another way. Keep your rectal integrity intact.
That's right. Airtight, people.
It's
airtight.
So that you would say rectal integrity is an important thing to you in your life.
I would venture to say it's very important.
Okay. None the Miser points out Keanu Reeves is dating Sofia Coppola, daughter of the director of this movie, Francis Ford.
Oh, there you go.
1992. So hey.
Dude,
Even Dracula won't go to Castle Diddy.
I'm not going to go. Hey, imagine what kind of Thanksgiving dinner that was, because Francis Ford Coppola is either the dad or the uncle of Nick Cage.
Right.
So you have Nick Cage and Keanu Reeves, potentially together at family events. That must have been crazy.
I want to suck your butt. That's what Diddy would say.
I want to suck your dick. That's what he would say.
I love that because Bela Lugosi, the actor from Hungary, played the early hit Dracula, that we just give Dracula that accent, the Hungarian accent. But like, could any of us really, Americans, will we know a Transylvanian Romanian accent from a Hungarian? Like, would it? Oh, clearly that's Transylvanian.
No, none whatsoever. But
into this spare bedroom.
Grab one of my 1,000 bottles of baby oil.
Diddy's such a fucking disaster. Did you see the Costco, the amazing Costco, which I love? I'm a member and I love Costco.
Me too.
They literally put out a press release denying that they sold Diddy pallets of baby oil because we never carried that product. That was literally in the news.
Yep. Yeah, they got to distance themselves from that shit. You can't let them get attached to that in any way. Somebody had to type up that fucking press release, which I'm sure was very awkward and hilarious.
Look at this. The Independent. Look at this shit. Hold on. Golly, why do they always play these stupid video ads? I got to get this fucking thing off here. Well, I'll just show you. The Independent, I'll just truncate the website. It says Diddy's lawyer claims he bought baby oil in bulk. Costco says it's not possible.
Fuck that.
And then Costco went on to say, we don't carry that. We never carried that shit.
And we'll never carry it now. Now we can't carry it, asshole.
Secretary not sure, a fellow citizen of America's finest city, San Diego, California. He says, what up, homies? Let's go, Padres. I see a lot of people in the sports media, Secretary not sure, picking the Padres for the World Series because they are red hot after this summer. And, cleaned up the Dodgers last week. So I am with you, friend, and I will most likely be getting some tickets and heading over to a playoff game because I live very close to there. So
it's October.
Yeah, we say go. They won last night. They beat up the Dodgers. They beat them Dodgers asses. So, here it is. I was looking for this. So we say this for the Padres. Oh, damn, that's too quiet. Hold on. Take two. We say this for the Padres. There you go.
It's for you guys.
All right. And of course, if you send a super chat, and don't be shy, guys. All you should send super chats because when you send one in, you get one of these. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Shake your booty. There you go.
Damn. Worth it right there.
That's right. $5 well spent. Thank you, friend. Van Damme has a new movie that came out on the 24th of September, 25th, and I watched it Friday night, and I liked it, Jericho. It seemed to have a decent budget. A lot of it took place in these awesome European locales, and it was called Kill 'Em All 2. It was a sequel to 2017's Kill 'Em All, and it was so much better than the 2017 movie. So Van Damme has a decent action movie that just came out. It's like $3-4 on Amazon. So if you love Van Damme, he made another one. It's got Peter Stormare in it. He's been in a million movies. You'll know his face. You might not know his name, but you'll know his face when you see him. So
one of those guys.
Awesome. And yeah, like I'll show him to you really quick. You'll go, oh, I know this guy. He's a Swedish actor, and you've seen him in a jillion things, right?
Oh yeah, that dude.
Right.
John Wick, fucking Constantine.
Right. I'm not going to spoil anything, but he plays a very fun, complex character, and it's got some heist stuff in it, which you know how much I love heists, like bank robbery shit in it, and ultra violence and some twists and turns. It's not, and it has some mob justice in it too. It's nice. So I liked it. It was a return to form. I actually liked it as a Van Damme fan. So anyway, he's looking at his love, Mina Murray, who will become Mina Harker later. And he's on his way to Castle Dracula to go to a Diddy party. Bring your own baby oil to Castle Dracula.
Actually, don't. We got 1,000 bottles here. Don't worry about that. We got the baby oil covered.
So yeah, he rides a train to the creepiest place on earth where it seems like it's night 24 hours a day. As he gives off the train, another person hands him a cross, a silver cross necklace, says, "You might want to wear this. There's some," he says, I think he says something like "evil moves fast out here." And then a carriage rolls up in the, I don't know how someone, like, this is like ancient Uber in the 1800s. Uber's using GPS. I don't know how Dracula's carriageman came and picked him up with the horse and carriage, but he just kind of comes out of the trees in the forest. There's no roads. And he's got these long, like, sharpened fingernail hands. And he's like, "Yeah." Like, get inside the wagon here. And they go to Castle Dracula. And there's howling wolves. There's a supernatural blue flame wall they ride through. It's all weird and creepy shit. And,
Yeah, they should have known right there. Flip a bitch.
Yeah, look at, like, if this guy reaches for you in the middle of a dark forest to get into his carriage, Jericho.
There's no getting in the carriage right here.
You're not getting in with that guy?
No, I can't do it.
No.
That hand says all kinds of weird shit is about to happen. Look at his hand. That's not a human hand.
No, definitely not.
Out of here.
What's the name of the movie? The name of the movie is Kill 'Em All 2 with Van Damme. The name of this movie is Bram Stoker's Dracula, to answer what you might be asking about.
Brody Stoker's Dracula.
So I feel like if I met a guy that looked like this, I'd have a lot of questions about him.
Hey, we're out of here. We wouldn't even get to this point because of the dude's hand on the fucking wagon. But let's say we did. Yeah, it's fucking out of here time.
Hold on. I hate to interrupt you. I apologize. But he said something that's very important. Secretary, not sure. Private message me. Find me on, Twitter, whatever. The ice maker quit working on my fridge, and otherwise my fridge works great. I don't want to spend $3,000 on a refrigerator. You said if I ever need an appliance guy, hit you up. I got you. Jericho only over emails. Can't try the phone. Listen, I need freaking ice in my house. I've been buying bags of ice at Vaughn's and keeping them in my big chest freezer. I want the ice maker to work again, and something weird happened. But the fridge is fine. I'm not spending $3,000 just to have an ice maker, damn it. So yes, private message me. We'll talk. Thank you.
It's not his fault, man. We didn't break your ice.
There you go. It's been almost a year that it's been broken. It was Thanksgiving when it quit working. What a day for it to quit working.
Well, maybe on his birthday, his first birthday.
Yeah.
It'll be fixed. I like this. I like the idea of the non-traditional idea of Dracula. The black cape with the big collar, cobra, whatever collar thing around him, and the red kind of bolo kind of tie with the medallion and the slick back hair. These are like different versions. This is what stood out to me. I was like 12 when this came out. So this is what kind of stood out to me was these are different versions of Dracula. This is more of the sorcery magic Dracula, not just the bloodsucker. This is like the one who started it. So he has magical powers. He can control the weather, animals, conjure spirits, control people's minds. Like this isn't just the fangs all the time, blood-sucking Dracula. So this is, I guess this would be, what fucking form of him is this? Like the real one? Like this is Grandma Dracula. This is Granny Dracula. Hey, come here.
What is with the two
like
lobes on his head of hair? What is that?
I don't know, but I thought it was cool. The pale skin against the red and the gold.
It's really good because it's so grotesque.
Mm-hmm.
It's awful looking, but I don't mean like poor design by the artist. It's this is a gross, weird, bad person. Like, I don't know. Oh, Captain Aruno coming in with another $5 in my best old-timey gangster voice. Here's some coins, doll face. Don't spend it all in one place, see? Is that good?
See?
Oh, it's that one. Here's some
coins, doll face. Don't spend it all in one place, see?
Right. I was doing the henchman and not the leader of the gang. We could do it in all kinds of ways.
You got to think bigger, Gabe.
We could do it in a Keanu British. Here's some coins, doll face. Don't spend it all in one place, see?
Oh, dude. That sounded so horrid.
Happy
boys are all well and productive, dude.
Thank you, Captain Haruna. I want to know what Captain Haruna was a captain of, but first, it's booty time in the USA.
Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake. Shake your booty. Shake your booty.
Man.
Let's see.
Take that.
The Simpsons made fun of this movie in Treehouse of Horror. I remember that. Mr. Burns was like all bizarre looking like this. Grandma Dracula. So Madonna, oof.
Damn, she does look fucking crazy.
It looks so queer, quote Homer Simpson. There you go. There you go. Yeah.
This I like this one. This is I think the creepier. And his shadow's always doing some shit too.
Yeah, his shadow is always doing weird, dangerous, gross, evil things. It's like he sees the picture of Mina on the table, and it reminds him of Elisabetta, who he loved. And at some point, he's talking to Keanu about that's his girl and all that. And the shadow strangles Keanu. It's so awful. You know?
Yeah, that shit was crazy. Like the shadow's angry. It's almost like the shadow is doing what he wishes he could do. I mean, he could very easily fucking choke the shit out of him.
Right.
But,
and what this movie is paying homage to is a lot of this, the 1922 film Nosferatu, right, which was Dracula. And this image right here is famous from that movie of his creepy shadow going up the stairs. Yeah. They play with a lot of light and shadow in this 102-year-old movie. So, this movie is paying homage to that with all the shadow play that happens in this movie.
The shadows all like he'll leave and the shadows still on the wall and shit like that. Shadow's creepy as fuck.
Patrick C says, fun fact, this movie was also made into a horrible video game.
Dude, what are you doing? I guess you're fighting the lady vampires that are always trying to suck him off or whatever, but that sounds like a terrible idea.
Was that Monica Bellucci and Nicole Kidman as the vampire slave girls in the bed? I could have sworn I'd seen both of them.
Oh, no, yeah, one of the chicks, she was the chick from the second Matrix.
Yeah, that's Monica Bellucci.
Yeah, that was her, for sure. But
what he's talking that sing-songy stereotype Italian way all the day, Jericho. You had to talk that way. Everything you would say.
Yeah, that's how you speak Italian. You guys know it's the easiest language ever.
That's the first month of Italian class. Is just a sing-songy thing.
Yeah, just getting this and put your fingers together like this, like you're pinching some food off a plate. Put it like this. That's it. I just taught you Italian.
So while her love, Keanu, is trying not to be eaten by Grandma Dracula, she's back reading naughty books with her friend Lucy, who's some sort of high society chick, and she's a bit of a loose woman, bit of a floozy.
Yeah, she's a sloot for sure. But it's funny to look at what porn was 100 and some years ago, 140 years ago, 150 years ago, versus what it is now. I was like, you guys think these drawings of like two cartoons is something? Let me show you. Let me take you to fucking 1995. Your head's gonna fucking explode.
Right.
Like it's so. But that's how everything was very classy back then. The women were virtuous. The men were virtuous. Like it wasn't. Yeah, they were obviously still sluts and whorehouses and all that stuff. But the majority of society, played it pretty traditional. But,
whatever went on behind closed doors went on behind closed doors. But society, we had the dignity to put on an air of purity in public, at least. There was an idea of public decency. Yeah. You want to go home and have your own little baby oil stuff with your wife or girlfriend in the privacy of your own room.
Yeah.
Well, I guess so. But in public, I was in Hollywood, California last night in Los Angeles. My daughter was doing stand-up again at the Comedy Store, the world-famous Comedy Store, where greats such as Richard Pryor, Jerry Seinfeld, all the greats have been there. It's the main comedy club in America, I think. And I went into a 7-Eleven to buy a snack, which I didn't buy anything because the protein bars were almost $5 or $6. I looked down, a regular Kit Kat was $2.50. I walked out in disgust. I was like, oh, I need a sweet, but I'll buy a healthy protein bar. Almost $6 for a protein bar. Anyway, two girls, 22, 21 years old, came in, literally had sheer, thin, like lingerie on. One had a dress from the boobs to the crotch, and the sides were completely open with just 5 little strings holding it. You could see everything. It was like being in a strip club. And the other one had something just as skimpy, and it's like, we're in public. Like, what are you doing? We're in public. And it's just like in these old 1800s, I'm sure people were freaky deaky behind closed doors, but in public, you didn't do it. And I think that's a better world, to be frank.
Yeah, if a woman were to walk out in public back then, like people would probably grab you and like put a blanket over you and chastise you for coming out in public like that. And if you were like some homeless person taking a shit on the street, like men would probably come over and beat whatever shit is left in you out of you for shitting on the street. Like it was more publicly not only accepted but enforced that this is how we act out here. And when he was looking at that picture of Mina, you know, Dracula took the picture, and he's remembering his wife, and he's crying, like, and this is 400 some years later, I think almost 500 years later, and she, you know, he's still like it was yesterday. He's still very emotional, very raw, thinking about his woman. So yeah, this sets him on a course to reunite with Elizabetha.
It's Elizabeth, but they say Elizabetta. So, Captain Hearn asked, the girls that I saw in the 7 were they ladies of the night or just regular women? Having spent enough time in Hollywood, I would say they were just regular women. That's what I would say. That the way they were dressed, I've seen plenty of that in Los Angeles and Hollywood. So, and you got to understand, right there, Hollywood Boulevard, Sunset Strip, that is like young clubs going out drinking, dancing, and people are dressed all kinds of crazy ways to go dress and impress. And I was telling my wife, what a life. Go to some nightclub, take a bunch of drugs, and then have weird sex with a stranger. No thanks. You know, like, what do they do? Like, that's your life? Terrible. Horrible.
But what do you expect to attract if you're dressed like that? Like, you have a dress that barely goes past your labia. Your tits are out. You can see the whole side of your body. Like, what kind of guy are you expecting to attract?
I don't know. So OG sounds like Vegas. I mean, I've been to Vegas plenty, and it doesn't hold a candle to the Hollywood freaky deakiness. Hollywood is a freaking weird place, and the freaks come out at night. One of my favorite things about being in Hollywood, if I spend the night there for something my daughter's doing, comedy or this or that, is Sunday morning. If you want to drive through LA and there be no traffic, do it on a Sunday morning, because all these drug addict weirdos, they're all hungover and sleeping on Sunday morning. So the streets are like empty in Hollywood when you wake up at 7, 8, even 9 o'clock. There's like nobody out. So
yeah,
my daughter used to live right there on the corner of Sunset and Wilcox, and we drove by it last night. It's right by the Comedy Store. It's like a mile from the Comedy Store. It's where the CNN building is. So when you get off, this is a little boring, but just so you know where we are. When you get off I think the 101 or the 10, which is, I don't know, and you get on Sunset, the first thing you see is Netflix. Like Netflix is right there, and KTLA, and it's all right there. But there's a huge building. I think it's Netflix's main offices. And you head down, and there's all those comedy clubs and bars and all that stuff, and it's a wild place, just filled with Hollywood degenerates. Not my kind of people.
All the ladies are doing the walk of shame, trying to hold their knees together.
Yeah,
it's disgusting.
Yeah, not my way. So Lucy, she's kind of the skanky friend of Mina.
Yeah.
And she's always, they're looking at this is like the, what is the Indian book about sex? The Kama Sutra?
Kama Sutra.
I believe that's what that is, because this art had that isometric Persian style of drawing.
Or is it Kama Sutra?
Kama. It's not karma. It's Kama. It's the Kamala Sutra.
Can I get some Kamala sex book?
But like, she's like showing her some nasty sex position in the book, and the redhead is like, oh, that's what I did last night. Like, she's all, so you can tell she has a bit more body sense of humor than Mina. Mina's much more, proper,
But she said she was kidding.
Right. She says, that's what a whore would say, Jericho.
She's like, no, I just gave hand jobs.
Right. But then Lucy runs over. They're having some party, some society party. And we meet these 3 gentlemen who become part of the crew to help take out Dracula later. Quint is in the back. He's a Texan with like a foot-long Bowie knife on his hip. We meet Arthur. He's a really rich, I don't know if he's nobility or big businessman. He's in the middle. That's Carrie Elwes from The Princess Bride and many other things. And then the guy in the back middle there, that's Jack. I forget all their last names. I remember their first names. And Jack is a doctor, and he's the apprentice to Abraham Van Helsing, who's like a priest, doctor, vampire hunter guy who will show up later, played by Anthony Hopkins.
But this dude, Jack, his fucking arch is crazy.
Yeah.
Arc. His character arc is crazy. He goes from kind of a dorky doctor who's like, oh, I don't know what it is, I need to call Van Helsing, to a drug addict, to a fucking savage,
to a Billy Badass by the end.
Jack takes a trip in this movie.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good character arc.
Yeah.
I really like Quint. There's not much for him to do in the story besides be a Texas badass, you know. But I do love the Bowie knife and the how he looks like a character out of Tombstone or something like that with the big duster jacket, and he's a Texan and this and
But
that.
it's Thai. Thai is totally different, and I like how because back then we didn't have this. You didn't have airplanes, so everybody wasn't traveling everywhere. You didn't know a bunch of shit about America. So they're very like, oh, you Texans, I hear you guys are this and in America. So he's very much, you know, telling them what's going on in America. Like I know it's kind of hard to explain, but because there's that travel isn't there. So it's like America's this far away land that no one's ever been to. So you definitely get that feeling. But yeah, he's cool. Texas, he's cool, man.
Yeah, big Tex. Captain Haruno with the Grand Slam. The Kamala Sutra would be how to toss word salad.
Oh,
I like it. I like it.
Don't
You know,
do
the thing
that.
about Tim Walls
Don't
last
ever do
night
that.
is I tweet out so many great ones against Walsey. I wrote that he's making Kamala look like the smart one.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Look at those eyes, dude.
He looks like somebody like in a horror movie who's seen something so scary that they're just scared from now on.
Yeah.
They're just like permanently like fright. They
He
just
looks
have
like
fright
Chris
on
Hansen
everything.
is telling him he needs to have a seat.
Yeah, no, have a seat. Have a seat. And then he tells him, you can go now. I can go? Yeah, you're free to go. Bye. Thank you so much. I'll never do this again. And then get down.
The police dog gets him.
Just let that dog just bite him in his cheek. Just let that Malinois just get a mouthful of his fucking cheek.
He looks like the FBI just told him just because you deleted the file in the trash can doesn't mean it's actually deleted off the hard drive.
Idiot, we have it right here. They just told him we have it right here. We have
That's
a
what he looks
transcript.
He looks like the FBI just told him just because you turn your phone off doesn't mean it isn't still tracking your GPS location, Mr.
We know
Wall.
you went there. Why did you buy a shovel yesterday?
He's just about the creepiest dude I've seen in ages.
Yeah, they have him on film at Ace. They have him on security camera at Ace Hardware buying fucking Viscaline and shovel, and then he drives up to the mountains and he stays there for 3 hours.
Bunch of that yellow rope with the little blue stripe on it.
Yeah, he drove up to the mountains, stayed there for 3 hours, and then drove right back home.
Came back in a different car.
Yeah, a different outfit and everything. What happened to that outfit you're wearing in the security footage? And they check his barbecue in the background, and there's fucking chemicals.
Balls to the walls.
Balls to your holes.
Heather says, Heather in Lake Havasu. I always accused her of living in Phoenix for some reason. We're in the doctor's office waiting for Doc to come in, and the nurse says, "What's that noise?" The nurse says, "What's that hilarious noise by two handsome men?" And you said, "I'm watching YouTube."
What are those hilarious melodic voices?
She's all,
fuck
"I'm
you,
watching
nurse.
YouTube. What are you going to do about it?"
Yeah, you fucking nurse. Did you hear that?
Don't give anyone a leg drop, Heather. Don't do it.
Do it. Heather. I say leg drop the shit out of her.
So anyway, Lucy is a bit of a Lucy woman, and she's a free agent. She's gonna be picking her suitor.
And she makes every guy for about 30 seconds feel like they're the guy. Oh,
right.
Tex, how are you? Or I guess she would be Southern. How are you, Tex? Oh, it's so good to see you. You're so handsome. And the
Quinn,
next one
I
comes
do
in.
declare, when I see you, I get a case of the vapors.
Yeah, I do declare, Mr. Beauregard. So it was Jack first, then Tex, and then Tex is like, oh, hell yeah. Jack's like, what? And then fucking Wesley walks in, and she's like, oh, and then they both are like, oh, fuck, she got us again. I'm for it. So she's all on Wesley's nuts.
So back at Castle Dracula, Dracula's freaking out because he wants Mina. Like, that's his. He's going to find a way to get Mina. And he's also working on his real estate deal with Kyoto. I've got to buy these 10 properties, blah, blah, blah. Like, I always thought that was so weird to be in this story, but I guess it's a reason for him to go to London so he could buy that old rundown church and stay in it. And you just see how evil he is. Like, what a blasphemer he is. He'd be like a son of Satan living in a church. I mean, geez, this guy's evil.
He's mad.
You know.
He's mad with God because
this is Biden hiding in a closet.
They're trying to get him out with a bowl of butterscotch pudding and pubic hairs, but he won't. He's sticking to his guns. Nope, I won't come out.
And then we check in on the original real estate agent who went to Transylvania, Renfield. And he's in the cuckoo house and he's talking to his doctor. And that is also this doctor here, Jack, comes in to talk to him about what's going on. And he's eating maggots and flies and spiders. And the reason in the book that Renfield eats cats and rats and all that is he wants blood because he's turning into a vampire. Like I guess the way that the science works to turn is the vampire feeds on you every night for a certain amount of time, gives you he does that to you, and then you feed on him. And then once you feed on him, he condemns your soul to eternal undeadness, and you become a thrall. You become a thrall of Dracula. So he's halfway through the process, Renfield, so he's crazy. He can hear Dracula. Dracula travels as a mist. He can turn into a mist, a bat, rats, wolf. He can turn all kinds of shit. And he travels as a mist and comes and talks to Renfield. He talks to him through like hypnotic telepathy shit too. And Renfield's always ranting and raving about what Dracula's telling him. And he says that life is in the blood. And again, that's another blasphemous thing because the Bible in the book of Leviticus says to not eat blood, for life is in the blood. It says that. And then Dracula's like, life is in the blood. And he just has like a goblet full of it, So this is a direct defiance to God Almighty.
Oh, this part's creepy as fuck too.
Right. So tell everyone what's going on here with Keanu having a little shave in the mirror.
Yeah, so he's not about to cut Keanu's throat, but Keanu was in there shaving and he heard something and he turned his head to look and he accidentally cut himself on the neck. And when he turned to look, Dracula was standing in the doorway all creepy and shit, all quiet. And he's like, I didn't hear you come in. Like, but he was saying it kind of like, fucking make some noise next time, dude. Like, you just snuck up on me. He's like, I did not hear you come in here, dude.
So buenos noches, dude. Welcome.
Hey, dude, you want to help me shave, dude? I'm just getting rid of the stubble, dude. I don't like stubble. So he's shaving, cuts himself, of course. Perfect timing. Dracula loves blood. And so he comes in and he's telling him, when you are, do not leave your room and wander around the castle. There are things you don't need to see and all this shit. So he's basically warning him with that knife around his neck. If you fucking come out of here and start snooping around, I'll kill you.
Right.
It's very, very clear the way he's holding his neck and fucking Keanu's, freaked the fuck out.
When he comes into the room, he's standing there in his little grandma outfit and the door's open and he doesn't take a step. He glides. He glides over to
That
Keanu.
shit was crazy.
And then the door shuts itself and Keanu's like, I think something weird's going on here. Like, you think?
Dude, are you moonwalking, dude? I know it's not created for like another 150 years, dude. Are you moonwalking, dude?
Dude, shaving is my go-to.
Bro, I blew it, dude.
Oh,
so he glides across the floor. It's crazy.
Right, and there's a basin with water and a mirror, and Keanu's like looking in the mirror for a second, and Dracula has the straight razor, and he's like, he licks it, and he's like, oh, he's like shuddering.
Yeah,
when he takes a little bit of blood.
Like, and everything is very orgasmic with the blood. It's not just ripping someone's throat open.
Right.
Yeah, it's not just ripping someone's throat open, drinking their blood. Everything's like everybody's rubbing and like coming on themselves. I was like, man, this version of being a vampire ain't too bad because basically you're just having orgasms all day long.
Right.
But
they pervert everything in there.
He turns around, he licks the blade, and it's just this like, damn, when's the last time you had some blood, dude? But he licks the blade and basically warns Keanu, stay in your fucking room or else. And of course, Keanu.
So the floating grandma who drinks blood and Shadow tries to attack you tells you.
Oh, and don't forget, shatters the mirror in front of you too.
Right, and hisses when he sees the cross you're wearing. So you think maybe there's something weird about this guy, but probably not.
Everything is nothing, no red flags.
If you met someone, if you were wearing a cross, Jericho, and you met someone and they floated across a room, they had a weird grandma double bun haircut. They appeared to be 400 years old.
Strike three, I'm done.
And their shadow did things they weren't doing. You would think that was unusual, but it's probably a decent explanation. But if they saw your cross necklace and hissed, would that make you think maybe it's more than just quirky?
Yeah, and when he caused the mirror to fucking shatter because he didn't like what he saw, yeah, that'd be a lot to deal with. No, never mind the howling wolves, the fire ring we passed through, and all that shit. Yeah, man, we're done.
Wipe them out, all of them.
All of them.
You will face the full power of this fully functional battle station, young Skywalker. I guess he is. He's
Yeah, he is.
Dracula with the double perm. Yeah.
Dude, it all ties together, dude. But yeah, Keanu is so after this, Dracula leaves, you know, he turns around, hey, dude. And you just barely see the very end of his, and that jacket he's wearing is very long, like a train on a wedding
like a wedding train. Yeah, it's like
super
12
long.
feet.
So he sees the very end of it kind of slithering out of the room when he leaves. He's like, oh, guess I'll tell you next time, bro. So he hears all the fucking, it's really loud. So he goes to the window, and here's the cherry on top. If you're not ready to go yet, Keanu, here you go. He looks out the window, and Dracula is climbing down the wall like a spider. He's on the wall outside of the castle, climbing down the wall. Keanu's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Nope, not good enough. I'm still going to stick around. I'm going to grab a candle, and I'm going to start walking around this huge, scary-ass, dark, dank, at least 400-year-old castle.
So if the guy that did all the creepy stuff we mentioned then went and did this,
yeah, he climbs down the wall.
would you have questions?
Nah, these are all I see is green flags. But this and that was another cool part, seeing that how creepy he is crawling down the wall. Again, not just the cape over the face. Dracula. This Dracula is a sorcerer. He has magical powers. Like he's a lot of things, and we've only seen one version of him. He has at least 3 more. So
Yeah.
very cool.
Think about what you think about. It says, anyone ever watched the show called What We Do in the Shadows? It's pretty funny. No, I know what it is. It's those guys that did Flight of the Conchords, Jermaine and Brett and all that, their crew of guys. And it's a show about vampires.
Oh.
It's a comedy, right? Never seen it. So maybe really ugly atheist Spider-Man. Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, the super creepiest dude you've ever met tells you not to go around his super creepy castle. So you go around his castle. And then weird whisper.
Yeah.
Women
Vampire
are
hordes.
calling you to like a bed that P. Diddy would think was too big. And they throw you on the bed. Or no, you lay on the bed and like, they're all whispering. And then they emerge out of the blankets.
Yeah, they tell him, why can't I remember his name?
John,
come to me, John. And it's her voice. It's Mina's voice. John, come to me. He's been away from her for a long time. Has he told him to write the letters yet?
Yeah.
Yeah, he told him, write all the people you know who care about you that you'll be here for a month so they don't miss him. They know, they figure, it's like your captor telling you to write a letter to your family so they don't worry about you as you're being kidnapped. So he writes the letters, and again, these shots are fucking amazing. Look at the red lighting on his face. He looks like the devil. Yeah. But he's following the voice, and everything's John, oh, John. And so he's not even leading himself. His dick is like leading him. He's like, I got this. Dude.
Right.
And he's leading him to there. So they say, sit down, John. And it's this huge bed with like silk sheets on it. The last bed I would sit on, that thing's covered. But he sits down because he's not in control. And then they say, lay back, John. And he lays back. And then that's where like this lady or this vampire-ette kind of pops up. He has to like spread his legs open. It sounds so fucking gross saying a man spreading his legs open. But he opens his legs. That's even worse. And the vampire lady like comes out of the bed.
Yeah, they come out. The 3 of them come out, and they're all very topless. So
yeah,
I gotta actually skip the next 2-3 photos and just cut to this reaction.
Damn it.
I
lots of titties. A lot of titties. If you're a titty fan, you're gonna love that part. But they're like, again, everything's orgasmic. They're rubbing on him. He's a lot of moaning and heavy breathing. So it's not just rip out your jugular.
But they're biting him.
They're biting him, but they're just bleeding him a little bit.
Yeah.
They're not draining him and killing him. They're not like, gorging on his blood, but they're getting enough to satiate them and to keep him alive, because that's like that's their food source. So they got to keep him alive, just drain enough, just so we're okay. And he still, makes more. And he's their snack. He's their
it's pretty
bag of blood.
Pretty racy, that scene. It's very sexually intense. Now, I don't think it's done to be dirty for the sake of dirty. Again, I think this movie is just emphasizing the crap out of the evil here. Dracula comes in and yells at the three succubi, I guess, these three women that are drinking his blood. To unhand him, he belongs to me. And they said, will we not feed tonight? And the next shot to me was unnecessary.
This one was fucked up.
But it's the most screwed up part. But again, evil is evil in this movie. He hands them a crying baby. And the implication is they're going to eat it. So,
yeah.
And then you see Keanu Parker. He's on the bed looking at it going, ah, just like watching because there's nothing he can do, right? But he's just like freaking out, screaming, which was good acting because he looked intensely insane when he was watching that. So.
Yeah, but he was very upset by, as any person would be, by seeing that baby being. And again, I agree. I think it was just to show the level of evil that they were capable of, because what's more evil than that? But yeah, he was very pissed off. But why did he want Keanu for himself? Was he going to feed on him?
Yeah, I guess they need blood so badly to live. You saw how he reacted when he licked the razor, the shaving razor. He's like,
but he's Dracula. Like, why wouldn't you have like a farm of just humans and you feed them fucking cakes and pies all day, or whatever, feed them good stuff, whatever you want your blood to taste like, and just do that.
Do you think that Dracula drinks diabetics people's blood for dessert?
Probably.
That was a really, really nerdy joke about blood sugar.
And does and like you could have them just mate with each other to just have more and more kids, even if they come out, even if they're like two, first cousins having a kid, as long as it's a human, right?
Yeah.
Or does he not drink? Never mind. Yeah. But anyway, I hope they're not hard up for blood. Like it's that hard to come by. And she's right there. She's receiving the letter that he'll be gone for a month. That Dracula.
But Dracula warns him not to say anything. So the letter's like, Mina, John, be back in 4 weeks. Bye.
Peace. Yeah,
she's just like, this isn't like him. Blah, blah, blah.
It's so cold and distant.
Now that's unrealistic, because how would a woman really react if you had some weird, mysterious reason you weren't coming home? They instantly be like, there's another woman. They instantly would think that.
Yeah, right? For sure. She'd be writing back an angry letter.
She'd be writing back, who is she?
Who's that bitch? Tell that bitch I said, it would be all bad. But, everyone's so regal and English. It's okay. Oh. And it takes so long to get places, too. It probably took him months to get to fucking Romania or whatever, a month, weeks.
All right.
So, yeah, I'm going to chill for a bit.
We'll interrupt this spooky story. Oh, geez, we got to move along. We're barely into this thing here. Diesel, who is the unfortunate fate of being a Raider fan.
The unfortunate disfigurement.
Right. His team is going to attempt to play my Denver Broncos, who have the most dominant defense in the entire National Football League. And it is in Denver, Colorado, this coming Sunday. And he's predicting 3 points for my team, 56 for his in the final score.
Oh,
like all Raider fans, he's having trouble spelling basic words. That's okay, though. That's okay.
Have you ever wondered what happened to all those kids in high school? They grew up to be fucking Raider fans.
The Denver Broncos will humiliate the Raiders to a level not seen in years.
Yeah, Devontae Adams is pissed, too.
I'm just telling you, Devontae Adams is so afraid of Patrick Surtain II. He's requesting a trade the very week he would have to face PS2.
Please, coach, not the Broncos.
That's right. Hey, PS2's best cornerback in the league. He is. Shuts down everyone. So
congratulations.
There you go. So the Raiders shall lose. And why don't we have a gentleman's bet? No money. That'd be illegal. But what do you want, Diesel? If the Raiders win, what do I got to do? And if the Broncos win.
If the Raiders win, you got to suck him off. If the Broncos win, he has to suck
Jericho. I don't need you reading from your dream journal again, okay?
Help you guys out.
Let's see.
Right.
If the Raiders win, then I will record a video, post it, Instagram, whatever, saying, extolling the virtue of the Raiders and how great they are,
man.
and that they are the Broncos' daddy and own them. And if the Broncos win, you will do the opposite. You will talk about the Broncos are the Raiders' daddy, and that you're ashamed of yourself.
Oh, you know what?
And you wish you could be as cool and smart and handsome as me, a Bronco fan, but there's just nothing you can do because you're a lowly Raider fan.
Great.
Okay.
How about this, Gabe? You make your video, and if the Broncos win, he has to change his profile picture to one of him wearing like a Broncos hat.
Okay.
For a month. He has to keep that profile pic for a month.
He says, I don't know about all this daddy shit, but I'll record a video. No, you will say the Broncos are the Raiders' daddy. That's what
There are daddy.
I thought it was 56 points, tough guy. I thought you were really sure about it.
Daddy.
Don't sound so sure now, do you?
The Raiders won't score 56 points in a season,
right?
Let alone in a game.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Okay. He says the video, yes, he's not wearing donkey shit. No.
No.
Yeah, I don't want to ask you to have to buy donkey's gear. It's all right.
Yeah, you go to the gas station and get one of those cheap ass hats that says Denver, this says D on it with a fucking horse dick, and you gotta wear it.
Yeah, if the Broncos wearing diesel, then you have to say you love the D.
Oh.
And the Broncos are the Raiders' daddy, and you wish you could be a Bronco fan, but you're just a lowly Raider fan.
And you have to go like this when you're saying you love the D.
No, we're not adding that.
Wow. Yeah, you got to do that. Come on.
So that's the deal. Everyone saw it here. Pinky swear honor into the deal. So you're in.
And Diesel's gonna go like
that's
that.
Right. That's right. Okay, so we got that settled.
Now that that's out of the way, let's get through a few of these scenes, huh?
Yeah.
So why does he fuck with Lucy? To get close to Mina?
I don't know. He just he'll eat anyone, I guess. I don't know what his deal is. He's Dracula. Anyway, Dracula is going to travel from Transylvania, the Carpathian Mountains, to London to find his love Mina, who reminds him of Elisabetta. And but he has to travel in the unholy dirt of his homeland. So they fill these giant crates with dirt, and he gets in the crate and sleeps on the boat, the Demeter, the best chapter in the entire book, the voyage of the Demeter to London. So intense. And then on the train and all that. And the dirt is going to be able to give him his weird, unholy powers and get him there. That reminds me, my son gives me the best gifts. My family always gives me such amazing, thoughtful gifts. Amazing art books I love, weightlifting equipment, personalized Big Man Comics license plate frame for my car. But my son got me a vial of this dirt from Castle Dracula in real life. Jericho, hold the show. I'll be back in 30 seconds. It's in my living room. I forgot I had this. I'll be right back.
Yeah, so this scene is Mina and Lucy. There's a storm brewing. Dracula is controlling the weather. He's out on the ship, and there's this crazy storm that nobody can explain that came out of nowhere. And it's hit land because he's there now. And they're just mesmerized, like, oh, this crazy storm, where did it come from? And I think Lucy is already kind of like, oh, it's calling to me. Like she's already getting the fucking vampire fever. And he ends up, I don't know, attacking Lucy. And he bites her. And so she's going through her whole transformation into being a vampire. And Mina's at her side and watching out for her because that's her best friend. But nobody can figure out what's going on. Nobody can figure out why. It's not any food she ate. They're thinking it's something mental. And then Jack, he calls Dr. Van Helsing because he looks at her blood and sees that her cells are doing some weird shit. Sends a telegram to Dr. Van Helsing to come and help him out. He remembers him as one of his proteges. So he's like, I'll come help you out, fool. And then as Dracula's getting closer and closer to land, all this weird shit's happening. This wolf just walks out of its fucking cage. I'm like, well, he could have done that at any time and fuck somebody up. The wolf walks out of the cage, and then, here, we'll do this first.
Check it out. You got to see this. This is a real, it has a certificate of authenticity and blah, blah. My son gets me some of the coolest gifts. So it's like a little faux leather case with a little glass top on it. It's got this long pin in the side you pull out. Pull the pin out. And then, you got to shake it open. It's kind of got that vacuum like an iPhone case, a little bit of that. Okay, this is going to take a bit here. I don't want to spill it, but this is a real tiny vial of dirt from Castle Dracula. So could I keep a vampire alive in this vial, Jerk, or what do you think?
He had to be like a vampire embryo, but yeah.
A tiny piece of it. Okay, so I'm having trouble getting this open because you know that vacuum that happens on these? I'm gonna need a little blade or something. Sorry, this is not good radio. You want to narrate? You want to make fun of me?
Yeah, so
it's not opening because there was a pin in the other side.
There you go.
There you go. You got to be smarter than what you're working with, kids. Now shake it, shake it, shake it. Here we is. A tiny vial. A tiny vial of, almost dropped it. Tiny vial of dirt from Castle Dracula. That's real. That's authentico. So there you go. What do you think of that?
Yeah, you can keep part of a vampire alive in there.
All of that to show you a tiny bottle of dirt.
All of that.
Hey, dude, look at this dirt I found, bro.
Dude, look at this soil, dude.
Yeah.
So he's and they're doing that superimposed stuff, so you can see him inside of the dirt. How he's like in this, I don't know, this sack, kind of this embryonic sack where he's gaining his power, and then so you see Mina like going to the window and what is this powerful thing drawing me to it? And I hear you, my love. Come to me, my love. And so now you're going to see him in the form of, what is this? Like I don't know, like a werewolf vampire?
Yeah, he's like a werewolf, basically.
Yeah, he's like covered in hair and shit. So it's like the werewolf. And so Mina, hears a storm and stuff, and she gets up she was looking out the window and she sees Lucy in this red, like flowy lingerie cape thing, like outside in the storm. This really bad storm, wind and rain. She's like, "What the fuck, Lucy?" And she runs up there, Lucy, Lucy. She's looking for her, and Lucy's like, "Oh, come to me, my love," just being drawn by Dracula's voice. And so she comes around the corner, and this hairy werewolf thing that he's become, one of the many forms of Dracula, he has her on like this slab, this marble slab in this garden, and he's just giving her the beeswax.
He's giving her the business, dude.
Yeah, he's giving her the biz.
And then like all hua, she's like, I couldn't control myself. I was.
Wait. She like he sees her, and she's standing there like mouth agape, like, oh snap. He sees her, but he's like, don't see me now. He's like controlling her mind. Don't see me. Look away. And so he disappears. She runs over to Lucy. Lucy, snap out of it. Put your underwear on. What the fuck's wrong with you? And Lucy's like, oh, what? I don't even know. I just ended up out here. His voice was calling. I did not know. I wasn't supposed to be out here. Whatever, slut.
Yeah,
and so
they all say.
They're walking back to the house, and he like pops out around the corner. And he's like, they don't know he's there. And he's like, fucking devastated that she saw him, but he was also kind of like blown away that she's right there. This is my Elizabeth. She's there. She's alive. So he's all screwed up too.
Yeah, because he's with her friend Lucy. He's like, oh, forget Lucy. I want this one. Let me read a little bit of what it says on the card that came with that soil. Dracula soil. Vlad Tepes III, Prince of Wallachia and member of the House of Draculetti. Okay, I didn't know. Draculesti. Was famous even before Bram Stoker used him as a model for the vampiric Count Dracula. During the 15th century, Tepes was known for his heroic exploits and cunning against the vast forces of the Muslim Ottoman Empire. He was renowned for his exceptional cruelty, including impaling tens of thousands of captured Turks. The earth in this vial comes from the grounds of Katasia something Ponari, I don't know how to pronounce that. The citadel of the Tepes ancestors, perched high on a steep precipice of rock. The castle was one of his favorite haunts. So this is real dirt from the real Dracula himself.
That is something else.
Isn't that a cool gift?
That's cool, right? Like you said, thoughtful.
Yeah. That's from Mini Museum. Mini Museum also does these like solid acrylic blocks, and they'll put like 20 historical things in them. And I have one with like a dinosaur bone and a computer chip from something famous. And I have part of Steve Jobs' sweater And like it has all this historical, like, you know, Babe Ruth's shirt from World Series, blah, blah, blah. And they'll give you a little tiny square of it and a brick from the city of Venice and blah, blah, blah building. And he's given me a few of these where that's just filled with historical stuff like that. Because I'm a big fan of history. So.
And it's hard to get something for somebody who can, you know, for another adult, especially when you have a job, you can just buy what you want. So it's hard to, you know, get something for somebody like that. So you got to get crafty.
Yeah. Yeah. Captain Haruno says, spooky gift like those creepy radioactive plates or whatever. Yeah, it's just all kinds of historical stuff. It's really cool. So, and they give you a book, like there's like a 200-page booklet that comes with it that documents all where they got this from and how they chopped it up into 700 pieces. So there's only 700 of these in the world and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's really cool. So yeah, like many men, he is caught in the middle of Congress with a woman and then denies it. You don't see me. I feel like that would never work for married guys like us. You get caught with the red woman and you try to tell the other woman, don't see me.
Don't look away, wife. Don't see me. Yeah, that's not going to work.
Yeah.
Especially if you're saying it out loud.
All right.
It's not going to work.
So we get to Carfax Abbey. That is the destroyed, the ruins of a Christian cathedral that Dracula is going to make his base of operations in the London area. You know?
In the London metropolitan area.
Right. And then there's some news headlines talk about all this weird stuff has happened since Dracula came to town. There was weird weather. Animals escaped from the zoo. Everyone on the ship, the Demeter that he arrived on, is dead. The crew is all gone or dead.
Yeah,
so
it's
like he brings the force of evil with him to England, you know?
Yeah, and the crew was kind of his food source.
Right.
While he was coming out here, he brought them on. And it even says Anthony Hopkins does the voiceovers again for the voyage, but he's even saying, you know, pretty soon the people on the boat began to believe that there was someone or something on the boat with them because, you know, people were disappearing and shit. So even they knew, you know, some crazy shit was out here on the boat with us, but they don't make it. The boat's empty when it gets there. And it's all the wolf. I thought it was kind of like a helper almost.
Yeah, it's
like
a familiar. I believe it's like he can
Yeah.
command it.
Yeah.
It's not him because he can also turn into a wolf or a wolf man, but he can
Or a
also
bat.
command vicious animals too.
Yeah, he does. Again, all the different shit that Dracula can do.
Right. So what about this outfit? You rocking this outfit?
Hell yeah, I thought that was cool. I like the turn of the century fashion. You know, 1800s going into 1900s, the top hats, those cool glasses and shit. Like you were mentioning earlier, they do have phonographs and like we're getting into some technologies that we still have around today. But yeah, man, hell yeah, with that
He
top
looks
hat.
like a stinky rock star, and that women throw their undergarments at him.
Oh, a tough life, man.
Yeah. So he looks
sure-
like that. He
I'm
looks
sure
like
all
that
the-
guy that most other guys completely hate because he's a scumbag. You know?
Yeah, but I think not all of those underwear that are thrown at him smell good, but this is a few, right?
You know? It's the luck of the draw, man.
It's a gamble. It is a gamble, fellas.
It's like playing. You ever play that game in Windows, Minesweeper?
I remember that.
Every
you never
once in a
know.
while, it's not going to go your way.
Kaboom.
You know?
Yeah, that's
So
a
on the
chance we
street-
take, man.
Right. So on the streets of London, he's being totally not creepy and staring at Mina from across the street. And she walks away and goes around the corner and he's there again. And then he's like trying to be pushy with her. And she's like, well, if you're looking for culture, there's museums all around town. And she's really like resistant and rude. And she says, and my husband, blah, blah, blah. So she lies that she's married to like get this guy to go away.
And he tells her, see me. Like when he was across the street from me, he whispers, see me, because he's
Right.
waiting for her to see him now because he's all G'd up from the feet up, you know, in his outfit. So he's like, yeah, I'm not some werewolf beast banging your friend in the garden. You can see me now.
Right. So they kind of hit it off. They go to watch some movies, like early kind of movie thing. And meanwhile, Lucy's turning into a vampire because he's been biting her and feeding on her and all this stuff. And she's getting more pale and weird and sick and always writhing. And she always has her boobs out for some reason on the bed when the doctors and the men run into the room to take care of her.
Yeah, labored breathing, like wheezing and shit.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Lucy's going through some shit.
Right. So Dr. Jack, that's what he's doing here. He's checking on her. She's wearing that weird white collar there, and Lucy's just kind of losing it. She's turning into a vampire. And so he meets her, he seduces her, Dracula and Mina, but he doesn't yet bite her because he loves her because it's Elizabeth. Like he's crazy, like it's Elizabeth. He does not want to condemn her to eternal damnation from God by turning her into an abomination like a vampire like him. So he lets her go.
He comes close, like he takes her like
close.
in this little back room area, lays her down, and you just saw his teeth come out. Like he's ready to do it, but he's like, oh, no, me though.
Right, and the whole Dracula thing, as you said, it's very sexual because it's like think about the metaphor here. He has to penetrate their body, but before he has to penetrate, he has to grow his fangs. Right, that's like very like erectile. You know what I mean? Like the whole thing is very much a sexual metaphor. You know, and I don't know. And then
I cannot Mina. I don't want to continue to everlasting immortality. Like he can't do it. He loves her so much. He doesn't want to give her this nightmare.
Right. And Lucy, the redhead, has gotten so sick and crazy and out of control that Jack, the doctor, he's going to call his mentor, Abraham Van Helsing. So we go into one of those medical theaters where scientists and doctors would do operations and experiments and talk to other doctors and scientists. And he's giving a demonstration and he gets a telegram telling him he needs to come to Lucy's place, wherever Lucy's chateau or whatever it is, because there's a patient there that needs his help because this is really weird and we don't know what's going on with her.
Yeah, again, and they're going to chalk it up to a mental issue because they don't know shit.
Right. And then meanwhile, back at Castle Dracula, Keanu just lays in bed with the three succubi, and they just drain just enough blood out of him that he can't escape or do anything. He can't warn anyone. He can't get up and walk out and leave. They feed him. They feed on him just enough to keep him at the edge of death, you know. So, and look at this here. You have Lucy in bed. She's writhing. She's like under mind control of Dracula, and the big spooky hand is coming in the shadow, like to get her and all that, you know.
And there, Van Helsing's there. So now you have somebody who knows what to look for, knows the signs. So he pulls. She's always wearing a collar. Yeah, the big white flowery looking one before. Now it's a red one. So she's covering something up. And so he moves the collar and sees. No question, no doubt now. She has the bite marks. Nosferatu. Fucking, we're dealing with Dracula.
Right. So Big Tex, Quint, and Arthur and Jack, those are the three men that were at the society party when she was flirting with all them. She's now engaged to Arthur, Cary Elwes, the actor, and he's got big money. He's some sort of lord or businessman. I didn't catch what he is, but he's very wealthy. And the three of them, they've given her blood transfusions because her blood is dying. So I guess the way the vampirism works is you get bit by the vampire a couple nights in a row. He has to keep doing it to you. And then you finally, I said this earlier, you drink his blood, that condemns you to hell and gives you the eternal vampire power where you never die. She hasn't had that part yet. And if she doesn't get that, she'll eventually just die, right? Or do they have to drink his blood? I don't know. Either way, she's going to turn into an undead vampire. I don't know.
No, she turns into a vampire without drinking his blood.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
I don't want to give a spoiler alert, but somebody else drinks it.
Right.
So, but I think that's more of making them a powerful vampire like him.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. I'm not up to date on my vampire science.
Well, you need to start reading some books about vampire legends.
Right. But out in that courtyard, Van Helsing talks to the three men about, hey, listen, this isn't like some disease. There's something out there that's feeding on her, because he's talking to Jack, his protege. It's like she has blood loss over and over and over, but yet there's not blood all over the walls, all over the bed, all over her clothes. Where's the blood going? And Jack's like, well, it's not like something drank it and flew away. And then when he says that, he's like, oh, you know, so they realize
maybe,
right.
He goes like, maybe something did. It basically everything's on the fucking table. Like,
right.
Why is that not on the table? That's a real possibility in this bitch. And you know, after all the things they've seen, yeah, anything's possible. Right?
Yeah. So Lucy and Mina, they talk more, and Lucy's really, she's at the edge now. And Mina is seeing Count Dracula on the snakes. She's got her boyfriend, her fiance, Keanu, but she's going on little dates with Dracula.
Good. As far as I'm concerned, she's already cheated.
Right?
You already cheated. It's over.
Right. But he hasn't turned her yet. He hasn't turned her into anything, you know.
I think the way to do it, like to make sure that it stays, is she has to bite his dick. And when she like bites him on his dick, then she'll be able.
And then he's giving her diamonds. How'd you feel, Jericho? Some rich lord who has a castle is sneaking around, taking your wife out for drinks and giving her a handful of diamonds.
Well, I hope you kept them and fucking sold them because you're going to need it to buy a new place. Because we are done. If I ever see that dude, I'm going to fucking drive a stake right through his dick.
So Keanu finally is able to escape those terrible women that are sucking his blood every night.
Was it that terrible, though? He's like, all day long.
I feel like it was awful.
Okay.
I don't feel like the juice was worth the squeeze.
I don't know. He's getting sucked off all day, literally.
I guess. He falls out of the castle into I think it's the Volga River. I don't know why I think that, but I think it is. And he finds a nunnery. And it's great iconography. I don't have a shot of it, but he crawls out of the mud on the banks. He's entering like a little foresty wooded area. You see a yellow glowing cross.
Yes.
That's in the window of a nunnery. He goes in there. The nuns are going to nurse him back to health. He's able to send a letter to his love, Mina, who is cheating on him with Count Dracula of all people. And she has to come to Romania or something and marry him immediately, is what the letter says.
Yeah.
You know.
Don't fuck around.
Right.
Get over here now. We need these nuptials knocked out.
Right. So, she's about to leave a little bit more with Lucy, and Lucy gives her a wedding gift of one of Lucy's fancy rings. And the guys are all trying to talk to Lucy. You're going to be all right, girl. And Lucy, she dead. She croaked.
Lucy's gone.
Yeah. Lucy's dead. Mina's on a ship to, this is the shot I was talking about earlier. This looks like a stage play. This looks like a theater production to me. I don't know why. This looks like something from Disneyland. It doesn't look like a movie to me, but I like that. I think there's something charming about it, you know? And Dracula, it's so emo. He gets like the Dear John letter from Mina, or he telepathically knows. I forget how. He knows she's leaving to go get married. And he's like in a ruffled, like fancy, like Englishman suit, but he's got that fucked up Dracula face, and he's like, ooh.
Yeah, he's like crying blood.
Yeah, he's like crying because he got dumped.
He sounded like the Cowardly Lion. He was sobbing. He was hurt, man. He was hurt, but never a reason to cry like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You're a fucking man.
So we get a great split scene where it's the marriage in the Orthodox Church of Keanu and Winona Ryder, of Mina and John Harker. And meanwhile, the three guys, Big Tex, Arthur, and Jack, and Abraham Van Helsing are going down into the catacomb where Lucy's dead corpse is to finish her off. They're going to drive a stake through her heart and chop her head off because Van Helsing has convinced them, yo, this woman, she a real vampire. So we got to kill her. So, yeah, they're going to head down. They open her casket. They give her the cross. She spits blood. But when they open the casket at first, she's not in it. And they turn around and the big steps up out of the crypt. She's coming down the stairs holding like a 5-year-old little girl who's crying.
Yeah.
Beyond
who's going to be Emil.
So Van Helsing, puts the cross to her and tells her, like some holy scripture and stuff like that. And she's like stunned, and they take the baby from her, and she's forced back into the coffin. They stake her through the heart and behead her, and it is brutal.
Yeah.
It is brutal.
He whacks her fucking head off. And then her head's like flying through the air, and Dracula, was he sleeping?
I don't know.
But or he's dreaming or something, and he sees her head flying through the air, so he knows that that Lucy's dead. He's not happy about it. But yeah, they fuck Lucy up.
Right. So now the good guys, Van Helsing and the gang, they know that Dracula is going to be headed back to Romania, right? He's going to go back to Transylvania.
Yes.
So they're going to have to beat him there because he's all weak. Oh, no, they're going to go to Carfax Abbey in London, the church where Dracula's been hiding out with his magical dirt that heals him. The dirt that I have in here, which is not magical because there's no such thing.
But it's from his homeland.
Right.
That's
and that dirt powers him up. Mm-hmm. So they're going to go to his castle, and he's in there hiding in the ceiling. He flies off to go see Mina while they're burning the whole castle. And they're destroying all his dirt, mixing it with the dirt on the ground, desecrating it so it won't work for him. You know, so that's a way to take his powers, to take his dirt away. And he's going to have to travel back to Transylvania. He sneaks into Mina's room, puts the schmooves on her, bites her throat, and now she's going to turn into a vampire.
And while they're making out, and she's supposed to be married,
Damn.
while they're making out, they're over there tearing his shit up.
Yeah, here's Carfax Abbey, and they're burning all his stuff and mixing the dirt and spilling it everywhere so it loses its power. And then he's over there biting her. They bust into her room, the good guys, after visiting Carfax Abbey, and she's like making out with the air because she was sucking his blood out of his chest.
Yeah.
He slits himself and she sucks it. And then when they come in, she's just there like with her hands in the air and there's no one there. And he's over in the corner as this thing now.
Well, he's up. He's hanging from the ceiling.
Right.
He hangs from the ceiling first, and they don't see him. And then he sees what they're doing, starting to destroy his shit or save her. And then he comes down. And this is the scene that I remember from the previews where he has the cross and then he like stomps on the ground and like blows or whatever, does some magic, and the cross catches on fire. I remember seeing that.
Right.
So, but Dracula is pissed off.
But then they shoot Dracula, remember? They shoot him and they attack him and it hurts him. So he has to run away. And he's going to make his way back to Transylvania. Mina, she's getting sick. She's going to turn. They don't know what they're going to do. One thing I think is a smart little note they did is now that John Harker, Keanu Reeves, is back from Transylvania, he has a bunch of gray hair from all the blood loss and the weakness and, the being anemic and all that. I think that's
he was president for 2 times.
Right. So, we get a nice Indiana Jones map too. And they show how they're the orange stripe at the top going through Paris, Budapest, and to Varna. And then Dracula, is the blue line going through the Gibraltar Strait, the Mediterranean Sea, because he's going by boat. So they're going to head him off by going by train.
What are you talking about?
Right. So, yeah, it's really good. They find out Dracula has zigged when he should have zagged, and he's going to beat them there. And they aren't able to intercept him in Varna. He's found a different way to get to where he belongs in Transylvania, so they have to double back.
Yes, and gypsies. Take him.
Right. Yeah, so Van Helsing and Mina, they head over to the castle, and Big Tex and Arthur, Harker, and Jack, they go on horseback for the last 200 miles. They're kind of doing like a vector thing where they're going to intercept him if he's here or there. And it's a great thing. So Van Helsing and the girl, they're camping out at night. And the 3 vampire succubi, the 3 seductress women, they show up to take her. And he puts holy fire around her and does some, reciting of Bible verses and stuff to ward them up.
Well, we can't just skip over that part, the part where he was sucking on Mina's titties and making out with her, because the vampiresses or whatever were doing their whole whisper thing. Oh, we love you. Oh, and all this shit. It's almost like they told her what to do. And she was like, I know what you men want, and you're lusting after me. And she like unbuttons her top, and so the hell's it? But you can tell that he's like under a spell. He's not.
Yeah, he gets himself a little motorboat.
Yeah, he's like, well, yeah, I'm under a spell. Wink, wink. But he
pulls out a communion wafer.
And puts it against her head and like burns her, kind of snaps her out of everything.
Right.
And so yeah, he protects her in that moment. And
right.
Like you said, draws the ring of fire around them to protect them. But it's a race against time, because once he gets there, then they can't stop him. They don't have enough power to fuck them all up. So he's telling them, get back, vampire whores. Get back. Get off me. And so it works.
Right. Sends them back. So now they've got to beat Dracula back to Castle Dracula. Dracula's coming in on a wagon with some gypsy men who guard him with, guns and weapons. And Big Tex and the crew, they're coming on horseback too. They have guns and swords and knives. And then already at the castle is Van Helsing and Mina waiting. So this is kind of like the climactic ending here. Everyone is racing to meet at this final thing. We've got to stop him from getting back inside the castle. Maybe if he goes in the castle into his coffin or whatever, he'll get his superpower back and all that. Because right now he's very weak. He doesn't have enough dirt. He's been shot and I think maybe stabbed. I think he got slashed. I don't remember. And Dracula, when they confronted him in Mina's bedroom, did they stab him or did they just shoot him a few times? I don't remember.
I think they shot him, but I don't think it hurt. Did they? I don't think they had silver bullets. So I don't think it hurt.
No, but I mean, it still just hurt him. It's not gonna. It can't kill him.
Yeah.
But it hurt him. Yeah. So, let's see. Queen Peachy Keen D says Diddy is a nightmare gone into a hell loop. Is there new news about Diddy?
I heard that he has 120 more charges against him. 120 more people.
I saw a headline saying that allegedly there was like 120 something people, and allegedly YouTube, they were underage, a handful of them. So this is bad. What is it going to be like in an America where the religion, I hate to say, but the religion of our country is pop culture entertainment. It is the most important thing to most people. It's not the most important thing to me, but to most people, it's the center of their world, all their streaming and movies and all their entertainment. What is, Jericho, what do you really think is going to happen if huge stars and athletes and singers and politicians go down from this? I doubt it'll happen. I think the evil elites will cover up for their own. They'll cover it all up. But and Diddy will take the entire fall himself, and we just won't know whoever went to those parties. But let's say we do know, and like 24 of the most famous people are just taken down, destroyed, gone to prison. What would that be like for the American public that worships celebrity? What do you think?
Well, I think if it's to the level of worshiping, there's probably nothing that could happen that would make those people change their mind. But I think those people are few and far between. I think they're all the weirdos who are like that. But will they have to give up some names to satiate the crowd? Will they have to give us some names to make all this Diddy hype worth it? I think so. We'll never get them all, especially if the right people's names are on those lists. They'll make sure that they'll stay quiet, even if it's at the cost of Diddy's life. But I think we're going to get some names, and even if it's a top of the line A-lister, let's say it was like Taylor Swift. Yeah. Let's say Taylor Swift is on the biggest star in the world. I still think we have enough moral residue left to where her career would be over.
I would hope so. I would hope if people were convicted in a legal, fair way, beyond a shadow of a doubt, not the court of public opinion, that anyone doing, we can't even talk about it on YouTube.
Yeah, it's a wrap.
Yeah, it's bad. Real quick, Captain Haruno. Anyone know why silver bullets became the go-to kill monsters like werewolves and vampires? One thing I know, Captain Haruno, is silver has been known for ages to be antimicrobial, that it kills illness and disease. When babies are born, they put silver nitrate drops in their eyes to protect them from any diseases the mother might be carrying in the fluids that could harm the baby's eyes. Silver kills microbes, kills germs. I don't know if it kills virus, but I know it's supposed to kill bacteria, silver. So I think zinc does that too. I'm not a doctor. There's not medical advice, but I'm pretty sure. I think the purity of silver is like a thematic thing with killing evil. So I think that might be it. I'm just totally speculating.
Sounds right.
Yeah. So I don't know. I do like old wives' tales. They make me laugh because you can tell where some of them came from, that they use it as a bullshit excuse to just get their way. In Mexican culture, there's a soup called albóndigas, and it's meatballs in a big soup, and the meatballs have rice in them. And the legend of albóndigas, the wives' tale that goes along with it is if two people make the meatballs, they won't stick. They'll fall apart. One person has to do it. Using critical thinking myself, I realized, someone was making these and the other person was interfering and bothering and messing everything up. So they just made up this notion of, I got to do this alone. If you Dutch it,
sorry.
Yeah. So they just made up a fake reason, like, oh, no, two people can't do this. So
sorry, buddy. Hey, what's the quickest way I can get this fool to get the hell out of the kitchen?
Right. Tell them there's a magical reason why they shouldn't help me.
Genius.
Captain says, oh, that's interesting. Never knew that. Learned something today. Yeah. That's a free lesson about the antimicrobial properties of silver.
Take that to your next dinner party.
That, and you can have that. You can use that to impress the ladies, Captain.
I give that to you.
Nothing ladies love more than some hot science talk. That's how I got my wife to date me. I told her all kinds of properties of different metals.
Yeah, he was taking her out and being chivalrous, and none of it was working. He's like, I bet I'll hit her with the silver line.
Dude, this really looks like Joe Biden here.
That wasn't?
That actually looks like him, this shot.
News to me. I thought that was him.
He's got those beady, droopy eyes that he has.
I was like, I thought he didn't ever had a job in the private sector.
Right.
That's who was wrong.
So at the last second here, Van Helsing and Mina are at the castle waiting for Dracula to come back. Dracula is in his pile of dirt to try and give him power back. The sun is about to set. So we're like the race to blow up the Death Star, or will Luke Skywalker be killed? It's like, can we get Dracula before he gets inside the castle and gets safe and gets repowered, or will we be able to slay him? And Big Tex and the guys, they're fighting the gypsies. They're killing a bunch of them, stabbing them, shooting them. They catch up and they get there.
Yeah.
And then Mina uses her Dracula powers to control the weather, because vampires can control animals, weather, hypnosis. They can turn into rats. They can turn into wolves. They have all kinds of powers. And one of her powers is she puts a bunch of clouds in front of the sun, trying to like set it sooner. You know what I mean?
And I mean, it's down like every second it's cutting back to the sun, and it's sinking lower and lower in the sky, and then more fights and back to the sun. It's sinking lower. The tension building was great in this scene. I mean, you talk about taking it down to the very last second. It was like heart pounding, like, are they going to make it? And the horses and the sound of the hooves and the fighting. And I mean, it was because the gypsies, they're all moving. The gypsies are in a wagon. The other guys, Tex and all them are on horseback. So it's like some fast-paced shit. They're shooting them, knocking some of the gypsies off as they're riding, and then they finally make it through the gate. What is going to happen?
And when they get right up to the wagon that has Dracula sleeping in the crate of dirt, boom, he explodes out of the crate.
Yeah.
Right
in front of Keanu.
Right.
Like Keanu's up on the wagon trying to cut. There's like a leather strap around the crate, and he's trying to cut it so he can get access to it and stab Dracula before he even gets out. But right as he cuts the strap, Dracula comes exploding out of the box. But then
but Keanu slashes his neck.
Slashes his throat quick, like fucking quick as hell. He slashes him.
Right. But with Dracula, you got to decapitate him. A throat slash won't kill him.
Yeah, but it definitely slowed him down.
Yeah, well, he's in a weakened state,
Definitely slowed him down.
Tex gets stabbed in the back by one of the gypsies.
Yeah.
But in a last gasp of strength, he stabs Dracula in the fucking heart with his Bowie knife.
Dude, I mean, right through his chest.
As an American, it made me shed a tear that not only did we save the Europeans in World War I and II, we saved them from Dracula. It took the American, not an Englishman, an American from Texas, to stab this vampire right in his heart, right in his black heart, with an American-made foot-long Bowie knife.
Right through his fucking chest, brother. Now you tell him back in Texas how I came over here. How I came over here and shaved your British ass. Now give me a cold beer.
Right. So Dracula's not dead, but he's on the ground like,
yeah, he's fucked up. He's fucked up pretty bad.
Yeah.
Blood gushing from his chest, or from his neck and his chest, my bad. From both of them, my neck and my back. And so he's kind of like still crawling, trying to get inside the church. He's still dying, but he's like crawling, trying to get in there. Mina has a rifle. She points it at John, is like, when I turn, are you going to do that to me? Like, are you going to chop my head off and stab me in the chest? And he takes a few beats and he's like, no, dude, no way. I wouldn't do that. When totally he's like, fuck yeah, I'll do that. Because it's not her anymore. Right. It's not going to be Mina anymore. It's going to be this nocturnal bloodsucker. So
and
he tells her,
burn. You can barely see it, but she has the burn mark of the communion wafer on her forehead still. Yeah. And that'll be important in a little bit.
But she's basically like, nah, baby, I wouldn't. Come on. I wouldn't do that. When in reality, as soon as you turn, bitch, I'm going to cut your head.
Right.
Respect to him, because that's going to be tough to do, I'm sure.
So then she drags Dracula into the sanctuary of the church that he defended all those 400 years ago, where he stabbed the big stone cross and it bled, unholy blood. They kind of have a moment. She loves him. They talk. And he basically repents to God and is, I guess, forgiven. He turns from the ugly old weird monster vampire face back into the young 30-year-old warrior. And maybe his soul is redeemed. It's unclear to me. I don't know. And then the mark comes off of her forehead, meaning she's redeemed from being a vampire.
Because there's that, I don't know, the tale or whatever, that if you kill the original vampire, then all the other vampires will turn back to human.
It's that thing they always do in sci-fi when there's a million like alien spaceships flying around. You kill the mothership, and then all the other ships fall out of the sky.
Yeah, just fall to the earth.
I feel like that's such a bad design by the aliens.
Yeah, if you could just get one of us, we'll all die.
That's stupid. Why would you design your stuff that way?
You guys came all this way, traveled all these light years.
Yeah, they're smart enough to do
stupid.
interstellar travel, but they're not smart enough to have one weak point for the whole thing.
Dumbass. If you get us in one spot, the whole thing comes tumbling down.
Do you think the humans know if they destroy the giant ship, the rest of them won't work?
Yes, they've seen Independence Day.
Damn it.
Oh,
Well,
stupid ass.
I'm not that mad. I kind of like Will Smith. I like old Will Smith. New Will Smith is weird and sad.
Yeah, make sure you keep his wife's name out of your mouth.
Do you think that that slap was real or was it staged to get more ratings because the Oscars are at all-time low television ratings?
I think it was a little of both. I think he was wound up and sick of being abused by his bald-headed wife, that it was just perfect timing.
Why would a man stay with a woman that sees him as nothing more than a footstool? I don't understand.
Well, he's not a man.
How could he have that much money, success, fame, and admiration and have zero self-esteem and zero boundaries? It makes no sense to me.
His childhood must have been fucked.
I feel like he was missing a strong male figure that would have given him self-esteem.
What? He was surrounded by feminine energy?
And then he moved out to Hollywood, where they completely destroyed his mind with leftism.
Hey, Hollywood loves you.
Man, those aliens are really insightful, dude.
But not insightful enough to not have one ship go down and it brings down the entire alien attack force. Do better.
Right.
All right,
So
aliens,
he's
do
the
better.
mothership of vampires. They take him out and everybody else turns normal.
Boop.
Can you imagine if you were like an underling vampire, Jericho, and then your main boss vampire, he gets headshotted, and you're like mid werewolf or you're mid flight or you're up to some vampire shit.
Yeah.
Instantly lose your vampire powers.
Oh, dude. I'd be upset, man.
All right.
Dude.
What if
What's
you got
up, man?
fucked? Like, say you transformed into green mist or a wolf or a pile of rats, and then when your main vampire dies, you get stuck as that shit.
Dude, this sucks. And that's
It's
how
like,
the movie ends.
What did that pile of rats just say?
That's how the movie ends. This
And then
sucks.
the pile of rats has to get into like a trench coat to go to the movies, you know?
Yeah, I'll take 3 for Dracula. What's that? Let me see your face, dude. Yeah, that's fucked up.
Geez.
But that's how it is. We didn't make the rules.
All right. Then you see that fresco on the ceiling of the cathedral that is Count Dracula and Elisabetta. I don't know if they're
Yeah.
ascending to heaven or falling to hell in that painting. I'm not sure. And
Who cares, dude?
and that's it. That is Dracula, the movie.
Dracula.
It's a pretty good movie. It's very, very gruesome. And the
Yeah, there's
evil
some
is like
blood.
evil. Like the evil is evil. This is not a joke. This isn't fun, spooky Halloween. This is vampires want to eat babies evil. This is like woof. You know?
Yeah, literally. There's 2 scenes where kids
but
are on the
but
menu.
to defend it, it's fine to have evil in stories, in my opinion, as long as the evil is clearly evil, the evil is hated, and the evil is defeated. That's it, you know.
Yes.
Otherwise, if you have evil for the sake of being gross and just having evil, then no, I'm not with that. That's too weird.
And justifying it, like you said earlier. Yeah, but it turns out he wasn't that bad. You know, he just misunderstood. His dad, smacked him upside the head one time. So no. You
Yeah,
can't
it's not really
justify
his fault. He ate all those,
it.
people.
Yeah, it is. Yes, it is, Dracula. You impaled 10,000 people. You knew what you were doing.
Goodness.
Hello.
So, before we go, let's talk a little bit of October, a little bit of Halloween. I was saying at the beginning of the show before you came in, it's one of my favorite times of year as an illustrator, someone who loves stories and drawing. One of my earliest memories of drawing, I was probably 4 years old, was drawing a skeleton in a graveyard holding a gun. And the gun had smoke coming out of the barrel, and there was a gravestone that said RIP. And I showed it to my dad. And my parents always encouraged me to be an artist. But at this point, my dad said, "Why don't you draw something nice?" He thought it was a little too grim, the drawing.
A little kid, man. You know
I
how
love
little boys are.
the Halloween TV specials. I love going trick-or-treating. I love having masks and costumes. Do you love Halloween? Did you love it?
Oh yeah, man. I loved Halloween. I loved dressing up as something with sharp teeth and blood and trick-or-treating. Yeah, Halloween was great. And it's my wife and son's favorite holiday by far. So
Oh, cool. Very cool.
It's their time to shine.
Now, None the Miser brought this up early in the show, and I didn't get to it, but I grabbed some art for it. You want to talk about waiting like 35 years to have a broken heart and be disappointed? So as you guys all know, my mother was very strict. I wasn't allowed to watch or listen to any music or anything that was, beyond PG in any way. I had 10 or 12 video cassettes growing up of Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Blues Brothers. Was not allowed to listen to secular music. And I thank God for it. I didn't get marinated in all this awful, awful, awful worldly entertainment. I would pour over the newspaper every day, read the comics page, and then I would look at the movie ads. And this ad right here in black and white from 1987 or 88 for the Monster Squad looked like the coolest thing in the world to me.
Oh, man.
I didn't even ask to go see the movie because I knew I wouldn't be allowed to. I knew the answer would be no. Many, many, many years later. So this is 1987 or 88 when I saw this newspaper ad. Many years later, like 2021, I pulled it up on Amazon Prime. And I hated this movie. It's so bad, horribly acted. The story sucks. I'm so disappointed because all these years I thought it was the coolest thing in the world because it's got the Wolfman. It's got the creature from Black Lagoon. It looks so cool. And I saw it and it's a chunk of shit, this movie.
But you had to look at it through the eyes of a 9-year-old in 1987.
If I saw this movie when I was 8, I would love it today and think it was good today. I'd have rose-colored glasses. As a 42-year-old or whatever, when I saw it, I'm like, this is terrible.
No, I love this. I remember these, like I said earlier, kick him in the nards. He doesn't have any nards. Kick him in the nards. The Wolfman.
Everyone thought it was so funny in the commercial.
It was. This movie was great, man. I saw it as a little kid when it came out on video. I watched this with my son. He loved it. He thought it was hilarious. It has the F word in it that no one's allowed to say anymore, which is totally funny. But it had that, that dynamic in those classic 80s movies. There's a bully and blah, blah, blah. And he picks on the kid.
It's like the Goonies, but it's Universal Monsters.
Yeah. And the little girl becomes friends with Frankenstein.
Right.
I mean, the special effects were atrocious. But seeing it as a little kid when this came out was fucking great.
This is like if the beautiful girl in high school never gave you the time of day. And now, 120 pounds later, she hits you up now, with 3 kids from 3 dads. And she's, pushing 250. And now she wants to talk to you. That's how I felt watching this movie in my 40s. I wanted nothing more than this movie when I was 7, 8 years old when it came out. And when I finally got it, it was not everything I had dreamed of. It was horrible.
It's like the hot girl from school. You run into her 20 years later. She's still hot. Oh. And you have sex with her, but her vagina smells.
No,
like, what, dude? This is what I went with. Ooh, smells like low tide. You're like, oh man.
So, having said all that, I think we should do Monster Squad next week.
Let's do it.
See if I can reclaim a piece of my childhood.
Kick them in the nards
with 8-year-old eyes and love it.
Try your best, man. Try your best, because from a kid standpoint, this is a good one.
Right. All right, guys. We thank you for being here. You all got to learn that I have actual dirt from Castle Dracula myself for a real while. And hit all the links. Guys, everyone take your finger right now. Get it out of your nose. Go down on your phone or
you wish it was in my nose.
And click the like and click the share right now. That's all I'm asking.
Now.
Great thing for you to do. Please do that right now. Check out all the links in the description. Check out everything at bigmancomics.com. Check out all Jericho's links, and we will see you guys next Wednesday for the Monster Squad.
Dude.